Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi Out's here, and it's Thursday, and we are doing kind of a Thursday think tank call-in. If you guys want to call me today, the phone line is open, and we can put you on the air if you have the number. But yeah, we're doing a reaction to a close loss to the Celtics last night. It was, we could have gone into overtime very easily last night if a defensive assignment had not been blown on the last second play. So very poor execution right at the end of the game. But I can't get mad at the guy who blew the assignment because we wouldn't even been tied if it wasn't for his two crazy long 3-point bombs. Jamison Battle. So, he's got to learn that he can't get confused when he's playing defense with Xavier Tillman Sr. and Jamal Shed. Yeah, you were guarding Jamal Shed, Jamison, and I'm not even totally sure why you were guarding him in that last second shot. That should have been not so easy. Now, granted, the Raptors were not putting their best lineup out there for at the end of the game. It was kind of funny that during the game, somebody was saying that maybe the Raptors need to do offensive and defensive substitutions because they have so many players. And at the end of the game, it may have been smart if Darko was trying to win it, or if it wasn't preseason and it mattered and it was regular season, we were really using all our weapons to let Battle hit those threes to tie the game and then take them out on a defensive play with only a few seconds to go where you have to hold off the Celtics. Why not put out there Jakob Poeltl or Jonathan Mobo or Sandro Mamu? Somebody that could handle Xavier Tillman Sr. a little bit better, because that was the only mistake I saw in that whole thing. Was, we played a certain game, and sure, there's stuff you could do better all throughout the game. Sure, there's mess ups. Sure, there's stuff that didn't look exactly right last night, but there was a lot of stuff that went well. There's a lot of stuff that got us to the point of the game to try and snatch it and win it at the end. But unfortunately, there were no heroics, no last second play right at the end that could do it. In fact, I was wondering why the hell didn't we advance the ball after that? Because we had 0.8 seconds. Well, that's all we need. That's all we needed in Washington. So why didn't we call a timeout and advance the ball? Why did Jamal Shed jack the ball all the way up the court on the very, very last play to have to do that? I mean, were we out of timeouts? I don't know what was going on there exactly. In some ways, the game would be managed different if it wasn't preseason. And in those situations, well, you put different personnel in to guard the Celtics from scoring. You save a timeout to advance the ball on the last play so that you can actually get a decent shot with 0.8 seconds at the end of the game. There's a lot of stuff that could have gone different, and the game would have been a win for the Raptors. But once again, it's preseason. Does it matter? No. Will Derek White be able to do this all season long? No. In fact, the Celtics should be worried, man. You saw how scared everybody got when Jaylen Brown had to leave the game last night. They started showing the Celtics bench and fans and different people. They got real scared. They were like, "Oh, Tatum's already out. Now Brown's hurt. Oh my gosh!" Everybody looked a little scared. It was kind of funny. Even Coach Joe looked like he wanted to cry a little bit because he saw that Jaylen Brown was hurt and he had to leave. If the Celtics fans are thinking that Derek White can do this all year long, you're crazy. You are crazy. If y'all are going to have to rely on Derek White to get y'all 30 points every game, y'all are losing a lot this year. You're losing a lot this year. And I think that knowledgeable Celtics fans would look at the game last night and not feel too good about it because there was no balance and they were completely reliant on that veteran Derek White to carry them. Absolutely needed him to carry them. And that, in some ways, that's no good, man. That's not a balanced attack. And if you think that man can help y'all at every game, 82 games, to win just by himself like that, y'all are fucked. Y'all are fucked. There's no way. So, yeah, in some ways, I saw things on our side that were dismaying. We finally got to see our starting lineup start together for the first time ever, and it didn't look good at the beginning of the game. Now, I'll be honest. I'm not such a homer that I can't see things the way that they are, and in some ways, look, I'll blame, Scotty running into Brandon on a place in the beginning from just Brandon not playing with them too much and not being totally right. But they worked it out, and you didn't really see that kind of spacing issue after the very beginning of the game. It was just a little wires crossed. And some people were in the wrong place at the wrong time. And it's partly because there's not familiarity in a real sense in an NBA game until just then. Really happy that Yak showed up and played on his 30th birthday for the Raptors and got out there on the court. He looked very joyful and happy out there, but he was not totally in his rhythm, and he was not totally playing the way he's supposed to. You know, the starters looked bad at the beginning of the game, but at the end of the first half in the second quarter, they looked very good closing out the second quarter. Then in the second half, you know, they had good stints then too after the halftime. So, you know, I know some people want to overreact, and they may see only the bad stuff that happened with the starters last night with the Raptors, and they'll try and extrapolate all these reasons for this or this or this. Just stop. There's so much proof and evidence and different things and games at different times. And, you know, you could pick one little split second of what happened in the game and just key on that and extrapolate from that. And it's not totally fair. So once again, people are going to overreact. There's no reason to overreact to anything yesterday. Once again, it's preseason. Darko and the Raptors coaching staff are not going all out to try and win, because they could do things very easily to get in better positions to win, obviously. And, you know, people overanalyzing Scott, people overanalyzing IQ, people overanalyzing the starters as a unit. Don't do that right now. There's no reason to do that right now. This was finally, successfully, the first time we got to have our 5 starters actually start the game. And honestly, they look scary out there to other people, because there's so many moving parts with those 5 guys on the court together. Now, will they have to stagger them opposite each other a bit for times? Yes, they need to, because they need to spread that very good talent out. And, you know, if there are issues with spacing and ball touches and who's doing what and what, you know, maybe there is an opening of a conversation about maybe one of these guys coming off the bench. Because I don't know. I want to make whatever work for us to win. But right now, I would say this was a good first start, even if the very first part of it was not good. This is a very good first start for this starting 5. And you can see the overwhelming talent when they get rolling and they're really playing off each other. And that stint before halftime, we saw some very overpowering connections between our starting 5 in a talent way, where they just out-talent the other lineup because they're just 5 dudes that are premium NBA players that do what they do so well. And, you know, that's what people have to remember and realize. You know, the beginning was very awkward. I won't lie. The beginning was very awkward. All right, let's check in with everybody. We got the Instagram stories. We got the Reddit reactions. We've got the box score. We've got the stars of the game. All the fun stuff we do on reaction stream. And once again, I say it, the phone line is open. If you want to call me and talk on the air, this is for members. This is for people in our Discord. This is for people who are longtime Raptor freaks. And actually, I already have the number here. I'm not going to put the number up all over the place for people. Basically, you better have the number already if you do want to call me today. So let's see. Trevor J's words of wisdom. Let's see. Whatever you choose, make sure that at the end of the day, you feel good about the life you're living. Your happiness matters. Your joy matters. Life is too short to hold on to stagnant energy. Let go of what no longer serves you, your higher self, and give yourself permission to feel light again. That's good. I mean, some of this has to do with staying present and letting go of the past. Some of this has to do with, you know, are you, you know, feeling like you're doing right in your life? If you're kind of being a shadow person and not doing things in the right way, you know, how could you change to allow yourself to, you know, get rid of some of that? I don't know. There's a lot of different things here. You know, there are a lot of people that are acting out and doing the wrong thing to a lot of people on a mass scale. And well, I mean, I don't know if your words of wisdom are targeted towards these kind of people, Trevor, the people that are actively destroying democracy and freedom in North America and the United States right now. I mean, there's people here that want to mimic it here in Canada. I mean, we need to be worried about this, not just because the states are the states, but because Canada mimics the states, and anything somebody does down there, some idiot up here might try and do. And that's why we need to be vigilant towards fascism and stopping it and making it known that it's not popular. And that's why the protests that are coming up and the ones that are continue to go on need to continue and need to happen. And it needs to be shown that this is not popular policy to be a fascist, because there is the possibility that somebody might want to try and do that shit up here in Canada. There are people that aspire to do that. So we have to make sure that we protect our democracy, we protect our freedom, and protect our ability to feel like we live in, I don't know, I shouldn't say that. Our ability to have a free society, because it's all under attack right now. And it's not really Canada's fault, because we live next door to meth house, but the meth house will influence our side of the art. And in some ways we need to be ready to say no. Very much say no. That's right. Thank you for your words of wisdom, Trevor J. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you a lot. Trevor's saying we almost won again. This team never gives up. Yeah, this was really cool how they came back. Once again, Darko's not trying to win the game by personnel. He's letting it ride with who he's got at the end, and it's usually the end of the rotation for the night. So at the end of the game last night, we got Chucky, Hepburn, and the J sophomores. We got Chucky, Jamal, Jameson, Jonathan, and Jacoby. And that's a great lineup in some ways to close the game out, because they can do some powerful things there. But yeah, Battle was phenomenal. The 3-point distance on those 2 threes were far. I mean, that was Steph Curry kind of stuff. I mean, his foot was next to the Celtics logo at half court on the second one. And the first one was a long one already. So yeah, I really like that. I really like that we showed that ability with Jamison Battle in that moment. But in some ways, you don't want to be scrambling at the end to try and make up scores. You'd rather be on top and holding them down and playing good defense. That's much less stressful and easier to win that way. So playing catch up is never fun, but the catch up was made. And well, the poor execution of the same guy who did the catch up is the reason why we didn't get overtime. Because that's what I was hoping. All you need to do, Raptors, is hold the Celtics off for 8 seconds. Don't let them score in 8 seconds. Other teams have done a bad job of holding us off from scoring at the last second in the last couple games. We needed to know the assignment in reverse. But no, in some ways, like I said, Jamison Battle is a premium 3-point shooter. In some ways, he's heavily weighted to the offensive side as far as his strengths. He is an adequate defender, but he is not a knowledgeable veteran defender, and he can make mistakes, just like he did right at the end of the game. I think that, as somebody put it last night in our Discord reaction afterwards, that this is a tape game. This is a tape game. This is a game that is just full of tape for Darko and the coaches and the players to go over and really learn things about themselves. Whether it's the starters finally starting together, whether it's Jameson's error at the end of the game, whatever it is, there's a tape game last night, and lots of tape was acquired for them to learn from. And that's good. That's a good thing. It's too bad we didn't win, but we're 3-2 in the preseason. And well, we're going to play the Nets tomorrow, and we have the chance to go 4-2 or 3-3. I'd much prefer not to be 500. So let's beat the Nets on Friday. It's very likely we will. But, we'll have to see. Maybe Darko doesn't play his best lineup at the end, and we don't win on Friday. So, yeah, let's see what's going on here. All right, we're going to get the 4 quarters with our man out in Calgary, Seymour Pape. Good morning to you, Sheriff. How are you today?
Yo, I'm good. I wasn't even going to call in. I messaged you. I said wasn't going to do 4 quarters here, but I got a little time, so
let's do it. Let's do it on a fast break, man.
Yeah, what's your take on Russell Westbrook signing with the Kings?
All right.
Good move, bad moves, bad for his career. What's your take?
This is what I'm going to say. I first have to say I was wrong, because I was wrong. I said I don't think Russell's going to get back in the NBA, but I underestimated that the Kings are in a position where they desperately need scoring. So he actually kind of really fits on the Kings. Now, in some ways, his position is a logjam there. And
Right.
it's kind of weird because there's like Phoenix, it's a lot of shooting guard kind of energy around that team. Um,
Right.
I think that he's going to help them because they just need somebody to help them get to 100 points every game. I think that when we saw Sacramento, I mean, I've seen them have problems getting scoring. So because we saw them play, right? We played Sacramento, right?
Right. Yeah,
And
yeah. We played them in the preseason, and they threw a little because we thought they were going to come with Malik Monk
yeah,
at the point, but then they started Schroeder, right?
yep,
And even in their on paper, they said they had Malik Monk as the starter, but then they went with Schroeder. But
yep,
now you add Westbrook. I'm not against adding Westbrook. I think he's going to work well there because they're all veteran players.
yep.
If they were all younger guys, it would be a mess. But they're all veteran players. Schroeder's been through times where he's been on teams where he should be starting and he had to come off the bench.
Yep.
I thought that would be the case again in Sacramento. And it's not a bad thing because he's dealt with it his whole career,
Yep.
although he should be starting, right?
Yep.
Like
I think he might still start.
game.
I don't think this will change things. I don't think Russell's going to start. I don't think he'll come because he hasn't started for a few years now, right? So
Right.
So
and okay,
yeah,
I'm gonna leave the Westbrook thing. So him turning down the deal with Denver. Now that you see what Denver has over there, do you think he's in a better place in Sacramento, or he should have took the deal with Denver?
You're talking about Russell still.
Yeah, we still on Westbrook.
I don't think that there was a future for him in Denver because Denver was not interested.
And yeah, they offered him a deal.
They did offer him a deal?
Yeah, they offered him a 2-year contract, and he said no because I don't know. I guess he was looking to go to probably LA Lakers or not the Lakers.
That's weird.
He said no to the Denver deal.
Maybe he didn't like being in Denver, like it's on the down low. I think that may be part of it. I think that in some ways he didn't fit there right exactly, and that he was there and he was being a good citizen, but it really didn't take. I don't know. Sometimes that happens with teams. It's like, yeah, I appreciate your offer, but you know what? I'm going to explore my options kind of thing. And I also heard that Russell had a huge contract from China that he did not take to go see the Kings. So if he really was wanting money, he would have gone to China because the money that the Chinese team was going to give him to come over there right now was insane. So I think that part of the reason why he wants to play this year in the NBA is still he's trying to break some records or do different things with his career work overall. And I can't fault him for that. He got his chance. The Kings need some bolstered scoring, and well, he's been picked up. All right, man, let's go to number 2.
Do you think it's still? Hold on, I'm not leaving Westbrook yet. I'm still.
All right, wow, all right. He wants to go 4 quarters on Westbrook. I was like, man, let's fast break this.
So do you think it was a thing like he maybe because the Nuggets, they still got Murray in the fold, right? And I like that they still have pieces from their championship core.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Boston. Like Boston, the only reason, like I agree with you on your takes with Boston because I don't like Boston at all, but I do have a little bit of respect for them just for the fact that they still have pieces from their championship team. Like when you look at our team, I think our fan base, we're expecting the best for our team because we've tasted what a championship tastes like. But then you look at our roster, we have no pieces from our championship team. So it's a whole different, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I will say this.
So,
I mean, and I want to switch gears because I don't want to talk so much about Denver and Westbrook. Let's take the example of the Celtics since we saw them last night and what you're talking about. Now, the players that are left from their championship team are 2 very prominent players. Both of them were hurt. One of them got hurt in the game last night. One of them did not even play. And then, Derek White was a part of that too. And he got 38 or something like that last night. A big part of what the Celtics coasted on last night and were competitive against us is their system. Is that Joe Mazzulla, as a coach, really demands certain things of his players, even if they're not the older, talented players that he's had in the past. He's got younger, greener players. They have to play a certain way under Coach Joe. And that system is part of that championship DNA kind of stuff. And that's why the Celtics in some ways will do better even with less talent because the system is a certain thing they have to run. Now, will the talent in the Celtics team be able to run that system to the highest level to get them to heights in the NBA? No, I don't think so. But in the game last night, we saw the Celtics system acting like a life preserver for them when they were kind of drowning at times. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, I get what you're saying. We have to start a whole new championship core in Toronto, and that started with Scotty Barnes when we drafted him. And these guys got to figure out the path to get there, and it really helps to have people like Garrett Temple and Brandon Ingram and Jakob Poeltl around to kind of help guide guys and understand kind of the vibes from the NBA and winning. So Jakob was around the bench mob in the early parts. Yeah,
we can't forget the great mind of Bobby Webster too. We still got Bobby.
Yeah,
so he was a part of that.
Yeah. So there's key guys from the championship team that even if we don't have any of the players right now, because like even you could say that Jakob was very present during the build up for our championship. I mean, he got traded the year before, right? The summer before. So he can understand how him and Fred and Norman and DeLon did things in that period of time and, help guide these guys. But, the other thing that adds to this is we may not have our champions around because Chris is in a green jersey now as of this year. But we do have guys who won at other levels and are big time winners in other places, like Jamal Shed, like Elijah Martin. These are guys who had really good winning in their college. So, that can help with that. So, all right.
They said Shed had the highest winning percentage. I think he went to Houston, right?
Yeah. He has this.
Houston,
he technically has the second highest winning percentage in Houston Cougars history, like the whole school's history. Yeah. Out of all the players. Yeah. All right. Let's go to 3.
What was your take on? Oh, did you see that play with Joe Mazzulla telling
IQ?
IQ?
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah. I mean, I expect that, but I thought that it was funny that IQ did. Well, here's my number. Will call me maybe. And yeah, it was funny. I thought he did goggles at them at first, but then when they showed it up close, he had the phone, and he was kind of like, I'll hold my calls, or yeah, I'm sorry, I can't talk to you right now. I'm on the phone with a very important client, and they like what I just did.
Mazzulla looks so pissed. He looks like he wanted to suit up, yo.
Yeah, he's kind of a maniac. Let's just put it that way. I mean, a lot of the coaches are very, very competitive, and they're very kind of like that kind of. But his energy as a coach and his competitiveness is kind of weird, man. It's kind of weird. In some ways, a little psycho, and it's all right. I mean, I like the fire, and then when we're going to be playing teams, well, I want them to care. I want them to care. But yeah, I had no problem with that. I mean, IQ puts himself in that position because he's so close, and I don't think anything really bad. All that happened was like he cursed at him, and that's all. I mean, it's not really anything happened of it. So, but it was a funny little moment. I had no problem with it as a Raptors fan, and I'm sure Celtics fans. Honestly, Celtics fans aren't that upset about it either. They think it's kind of cute that IQ did the phone thing, and I think that they also really enjoyed their coach dropping an F-bomb. So
yeah,
I don't think there's no harm, no foul in this little interaction. All right, let's go to the fourth one.
Keegan Murray of the Sacramento Kings signed a 5-year extension, $140 million. Who are the Raptors due for that next big contract? We've seen teams loading up on their stars now, their young guys.
Yeah.
They're giving some contracts out. Who would you say on the Raptors is set for that next big contract for?
Well, we've seen that we've got a lot of big contracts with our starting 5 right now. So the weird thing is we're not really in that timing of like building our team where we're going to do that move like Keegan Murray because Chris, I don't know which one is Keegan, right? Yeah. And because, we did the extension on IQ. We did the Brandon thing this year. We've done an extension on Yak. RJ's under contract for this. So it's not at the big level. So maybe it is a little bit at the Chris Murray or Keegan Murray level. And, all right, well, I'll say this because I noticed this in the game last night and was saying it on our Discord server that if we're looking at the little mini battle between the guard forwards and the second unit, Oshai's winning right now. Because Oshai has been absolutely steady whenever he plays. And Jacoby has had trouble getting his offense right this preseason. And Grady has been mixed bag. Grady has been, sometimes very good and sometimes not so good. But Oshai has been absolutely steady. Whenever he plays, he's done winning basketball. His plus minus is usually really good. His defense is absolutely solid. He's rebounding. And when he is called upon to take an open shot and hit it, he's very reliable. So, I mean, if we're talking about that level, I don't know if it's going to be Oshai, but if we're looking at it right now, he's who's in the lead right now as far as looking at that little competition around our roster. If we're trying to figure that out, that's just what I see right now. Now, other people could perceive it different and say, "No, man, Jacoby. No, man, Grady." But it's different. You could ask me this next week, and I'd have a totally different name that's in the lead on this one. So I don't know. I don't think we're ready to invest in a contract like the one that was given to Keegan Murray right now because we're on a fact-finding mission, and in some ways, we've got to figure out who might get traded this season more than who we need to extend. So
why do we have to trade? Is it because of the money? The money situation? We have to trade somebody?
We don't have to. Bobby could be creative and make it work where we could fit them, but it's likely he will. And he even said that in an interview before the season started. It's the chances of this team being exactly what it is at the end of the year is not good. Let's just put it that way. So he said, yeah. But in some ways, it's like it's going to be a little move. It won't be something major, I don't think. I mean, unless, he does do something crazy, like trade one of the starters or something. But I think that it'll be more likely that he moves a second team or third team player, and it's really just to shave like $4 million off of our salary cap so that we just get under the tax. So, yeah. And I've also heard Logical Raptors Fanatic tell me that, the Raptors don't have to actually do anything. They can do things because some of the salary cap over the salary cap is incentives. It's stuff in people's contracts. If they I think one of them is like RJ gets extra $2 million if he makes the All-Star team this year, and that gets counted to our cap, right? So if it's not likely, if RJ doesn't make that, that gets taken off, and that gets us underneath the cap in some ways there because there's incentives that are in the cap, but if they don't hit, they don't actually count for the cap at the end of the year. So in some ways, we have to allow RJ to play his ass off, and hopefully he can make the All-Star team and make that money. But that's how Bobby has to be kind of flexible and mutative, just in case to see how things go and how he has to do it. So it's wide open, and there's nothing set in stone, and everybody's got a chance to try and make themselves a Raptor long term. So there is an extension deadline for Oshai though this month coming up at the end of this month. So they need to.
Another thing, he does have some. I think he has what 2 seasons on Jacoby, right?
Yeah. Oshai, that is a good point. That Oshai's a 4-year vet at this point. This is his 5th year.
Yeah, he has a little bit more experience than that. That could be the reason why you're seeing more points out of this game.
Well, I mean, I don't care when they come in because, like, in some ways, Shed is one of the most steady guys, and he's only in his 2nd year on our team.
True.
In some ways it's about how you streak shoot, and in some ways it's just going to be natural that Grady and Jacoby are going to be streak shooters to a degree. And I mean, Oshai can be a streak shooter too, but he covers it up better because he just does such solid things otherwise than just the scoring. He's so solid.
Game defensively, rebounding. I really like Jacoby and Grady though. Honestly, I really like both of them.
What I'm saying isn't set in stone or anything, and this is just my current assessment. If I'm looking at at what's going on right here, there's so much time. There's so much things going to happen, and it could very well be that either any of these guys will look way better, or who could be better at looking better by the trade deadline. That's going to be the things that we're going to be looking at. So, all right, man, you want to do an overtime real quick?
I just want to give this is like a couple days ago, just a rest in peace to an iconic woman. It was the sister from Loyola University in Chicago, Sister Jean Dolores Schmidt.
Oh, yeah.
She passed away at 106.
She's a super fan for that university, right?
Yeah. That elderly woman. That she represents that Catholic school.
She's actually a nun, right?
Yeah,
I heard about her, that she was very old, and she was kind of like a very spiritual advisor and a real role model for that university, the players and their fan nation. So, man, that is sad, man. Yeah, for sure. We'll just do a remembrance for her right now. Yeah,
for sure.
Well, prayers for her, and I know honestly, if she's a woman of faith, that we know she's going to be taken care of now for sure in a good way. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Rest in peace.
Y'all have a good one. I
All
gotta
right,
get back up
Seymour.
in this hazmat
Always
suit,
a
man.
pleasure to get the call from you in Calgary, the City Slicker, our guy from the that took it from the Scarbs to the ends to the province of Alberta. That's right. I hope you have a great day, man. And we'll catch up again very soon, man. Thank you, Seymour.
Always, always, always.
Respect. All right, bro. Let's go Raptors. Woo! All right. I love it. I love it, man. That's such a good Thursday segment these days. I'm telling you, man. I'm enjoying the calls from Seymour Pape from Alberta, touching base with us, talking about what's going on with the Raptors. Such great questions. I love the four quarters. Thank you, Seymour, so much. Actually, I'm going to give Seymour a big dunk. I'm going to give him 10-point dunk just for calling me and doing this to add to the show. So, Seymour, you're at 231 now, my guy. That is really high. Honestly, you might be close to Kareem. 231. Kareem's 242. Holy crap, y'all. That really does kind of change the power rankings there right there. You're second right there. Seymour, you're actually like getting up there like Clyde Drexler to his Michael Jordan. Woo-wee! Maybe you'll be Michael Jordan soon. I don't know, man. Kareem Thomas, look out. Look out, man. All right, let's see. Trevor Jay's brought up some news from yesterday in the NBA. Malcolm Brogdon is retiring before he even played a game for the New York Knicks. What a joke. Yeah, this is hilarious, guys. Malcolm Brogdon's a weird player, man. Did you know that Malcolm Brogdon never got a technical his whole entire NBA career? And he retired yesterday. 9 seasons. Malcolm Brogdon is a rookie of the year and also a sixth man of the year. He's like one of only 2 players to ever do this. Of course, we remember Malcolm Brogdon was on the Indiana Pacers, and they gave him a chance to go to 2 teams. They said, which team would you rather go to, the Celtics or the Raptors? And he said, man, I'd rather go to the Celtics. Bitch ass. Yeah, you went there. So a lot of us were like, yeah, we don't really like Malcolm Brogdon. So what happened to him? Last year, he had to go to the Wizards. Yeah, he got sent to the Wizards. Somehow, some way, he was on the Wizards, and that's hell. That's no good. So, yeah, that was pretty funny. Well, this year, he got picked up by the Knicks. And he was on their training camp roster. And, well, he went through training camp. He went to Dubai with the Knicks and played against the Sixers. He played in every single preseason game for the New York Knicks, the past 5 games. Well, the game on Monday, which is very interesting, they played the Wizards. And we just saw the Wizards on Sunday. Remember, we played the Wizards in the afternoon on Sunday, and they had to go to New York and play a back-to-back. That's how they started their preseason, y'all. They had not played a game until they played us, and then they didn't spread this shit out any kind of way for the Wizards. They had to go to New York. Well, what happened in New York when the Wizards went to New York? They routed the Knicks. That's right. On the second night of a back-to-back, the Wizards went to New York and routed the Knicks by 20, and Malcolm Brogdon started in that game. That was the team that he was on last year that he languished on, and in some ways he's like, whoa, this is like this. So let's think about this. What happened since Monday? Since the Knicks got routed by the Wizards at home on the second night of a back-to-back for the Washington Wizards? Oh, I'm sure the press, the fans, and everybody in New York were overreacting. I'm sure that they were doing the toxic shit that Maple Leaf fans do. I'm sure they were doing some of the toxic stuff that some Raptors fans do, just overanalyzing, saying crazy shit. And Malcolm Brogdon, who's never played in New York until just now, probably got a taste of it. He's like, all right, you know what? This is kind of fucked up. I'm at this stage in my career, and do I really want to do this? The crazy, pressurized, stupid-ass New York market? No, you know what, New York? I'm good, man. I'm good. Yeah, I appreciate y'all calling me and having me come in. I appreciate the trip to Dubai, but I'm good, man. I'm out. I'm retiring. I am not going to play for y'all this year. I'm actually out. I'm leaving the league. I don't even want to try and get on another team. Y'all have made me get to this point. I'm out. It's not that he's hurt. He's not retiring because he can't play. He's retiring because he don't want to play for the Knicks. He doesn't want to play in this situation. Could it be that Malcolm Brogdon was around the Knicks roster and around them, and he's like, man, this is going to be a dumpster fire. I can already tell. This shit is not right, and I don't want to be on a team with bad vibes all year. I'm so close to wanting to retire. Why don't I just retire? This is not good look for the Knicks. This is another L for New York City. L for the Yankees lose. An L for James Dolan losing a lawsuit, and an L for a guy retiring after investing preseason with this guy and penciling him in as the backup point guard for their team this year. Like, seriously, they're depending on him. Mike Brown wanted him to play this year for them because they wanted him to be the backup point guard to help the Knicks this year. Well, he's like, nah, I'm good. Y'all can keep your money. Y'all can keep, everything. I'm just out. I'm done. I'm not doing this. New York media, you're crazy. Fans, you're fucked up. And I've seen what's going on with this team this year already. I can tell. I've been in this league for a while, and I am not wanting to go through this journey with y'all. So I'm peacing out. I'm retiring in the middle of the preseason. And one of the weirdest times you could ever retire in the NBA is in October, before the season even starts, when a team had already penciled you in and their depth chart, and they're saying, yeah, fuck y'all, I'm out. I'm not going to play for the Knicks. So he's played 5 preseason games for the New York Knicks that won't ever count, and he will never, ever be associated with the New York Knicks in his career because he technically never suited up and played for them. It's one of the weirdest things, one of the weirdest stories I've ever seen. We've had these really weird incidents where Michael Malone got fired 2 weeks before the playoffs, and now Malcolm Brogdon has retired right before the end of preseason. You can't write this shit. I'm telling you right now, that's a canary in the coal mine, New York fans, that your team ain't right this year. If a man like Malcolm Brogdon ain't, sign me up. I'd love to be on the Knicks this year and win a lot and be on the Knicks and be a Knick. No, that man's like, peace out. I'll check, please. I'm out. Get me out of here. That's crazy, isn't it? That's crazy. I don't know, man. Malcolm Brogdon, you never cease to amaze me. No technicals ever? Man, what the fuck? You should be able to just walk somewhere and you get a technical by accident in the NBA sometimes. There should have been some accidental technical on you at some point. Rookie ref making the wrong mistake and calling technical on you or something. Or they just did something. You never had a technical once? What the hell is that? That's a weird thing, man. That's a weird thing. Trevor J saying this. Ingram's first double-double as a Raptor. The starting 5 kind of struggled tonight. You can see they are playing for the first time together. Yeah, there's a little bumping into each other. There was spacing issues. There was a little bit of crosswires. But that's all fixable. And, it just looked bad for a second. Of course, casuals are going to take that one little second, and they're going to extrapolate so far from it, even though there were so many other seconds that were much better and very, very encouraging. So, yeah, I would caution people that are casuals not to overreact to the hard start for the Raptors at the beginning of the game as far as trying to get smoothly into it. There was a little bit of problems right at the beginning. Now, he's brought up Ingram being a double-double, and that's fantastic. We saw a side to Ingram last night on defensive end and rebounding. And you guys saw that block that Brandon got, right? He got a block, and you can see where his length is very useful as a defender. And he's pulling his weight. That's the whole thing. And I'll say this about IQ and RJ too, especially RJ. You guys can see them working on defense this year. They may be not focused as much energy on defense in their whole entire career until now. RJ and Emmanuel are very good scorers, and even Brandon too, very, very good scorers. Most of their basketball careers, they're the man. They're trying to score the points, and other guys are doing the grunt work on defense. Well, now they're at the point in their career where they have to do the grunt work on defense along with the scoring kind of stuff because the situation they're in. You can't fault RJ Barrett for not developing his defensive game better because he was a more offensive-minded player for most of his life. Well, he's changed that. And if you see the way that RJ's fighting around screens, the way he's getting on his defensive assignments in this preseason is very different than any time in his career. And in some ways, we're seeing a very different kind of defensive energy from Brandon and Quickly also. And I love that. Yeah. My first star of the game, though, last night is Brandon Ingram. That's right. We do want to reward him for that double-double, 20 points and 10 rebounds for Brandon, which is fantastic. A 20 and 10 game from Brandon. Those aren't easy to get in the NBA. And, well, he didn't shoot the best. He had a bad kind of shooting night overall, 8 of 22. But you know what? He's going to shoot, and we want him to shoot because you can see how smooth he is and how much he's going to probably make them. But he didn't shoot that well last night. But he still got to 20 and 10. I like that. 2 of 5 from 3. He made both his free throws. He had 4 offensive rebounds. So there was a little bit of like Brandon getting on the boards and putting back baskets, which was awesome. 10 rebounds altogether, 1 assist, 1 block, 2 turnovers, a -5 with 20 points. Yeah, not a bad game by Brandon. He's my number one star. And I want to recognize him for the 20 and 10. And, it was weird because when it looked so awkward at the beginning of the game, they kind of took Brandon out for a little while earlier to let the guys from last year kind of work it out without him being involved. And then they added him later with another unit, and he looked way better working with them at that point. And then at the end of the second quarter, they put the starters back in to close it out. And honestly, this is a place where the Raptors have had a weakness, is at the end of quarters. Other teams go into hurry up mode, and they other coaches really key on, we're going to outscore them in the last 2 minutes of the quarter. We're going to outplay them in the last 2 minutes of the quarter. And we've seen a lackadaisical Raptors team get ran roughshod and lose a lead or get a lead put on them in the last 2 minutes of a quarter. Well, in the game last night, in the last 2 minutes of the half, in the first half, the Raptors starters were playing at a really high level, and they were actually eating up the lead and getting us above them, getting closer to being above them. So it's interesting. They didn't look good at the beginning, but they looked damn for sure good in the second quarter and in the second half, the starters. So my second star of the game is RJ. So there's add-ons for the defensive stuff and the free throws. That's the other thing. RJ has made all his free throws in the last 2 games now. He's 7 for 7 in the last 2 games from the free throw line. And those were really the 2 biggest things we wanted him to improve on, right? Raptors fans that criticize RJ Barrett and say all this shit, the 2 things were on his list: make his free throws better and play better defense, right? Well, he's given you what you wanted. He's gone and done the work, and we're seeing it out there. RJ was 7 of 12 from the field. That's very efficient. Knicks fans, you see that? RJ Barrett shot 7 for 12. Does that make you mad? Does that make you want to not have him on TV, NBA, because you're mad because RJ's more efficient and a better player on the Raptors? 7 for 12 shooting, 1 for 3 from the 3-point line, 2 for 2 at the free throw line. 3 offensive rebounds, 6 rebounds altogether, 4 assists, 1 block, 1 turnover, a +1 with 17 points in 28 minutes. Yeah, RJ was solid. RJ was solid. He was very methodical. He's tough too. He's getting beat around. He got big splashed last night. There was a point where he was laying on the floor and somebody came over and King Kong bunnied him, like landed on him, tried to flatten him. And I was worried for a second that RJ got seriously hurt because he was laying down still. And the play came back the other way, and it was 4-on-5 for the Celtics. It was 5-on-4. And I was like, oh, fuck, if RJ's hurt. But I forgot, it's RJ, man. He's durable. He's tough as fuck. That man is strong as fuck. He thank God he was okay. He got up and he got a technical. That's what he did. He got up, he got a technical because he told Zarba, what the hell was that, man? These guys just did a King Kong Bunny big splash on me, and you ain't calling shit. There was a lot of that last night. I have to say, Evan Scott was looking out for us. Evan Scott got in Joe Mazzulla's face at one point. Joe Mazzulla tried to cuss Evan Scott out. And Evan Scott was like, whatever, I'm ignoring you. Evan Scott was very much friendly to the Raptors last night. Thank you, Evan. Nate Green was fine. He was solid. But some of the calls were not looked at on our side of the floor. There's always stuff with Scotty going to the basket that doesn't get called. And you see Scotty going like this, like, that's because he just took a drive to the basket and he got nailed and hit. And he didn't make the shot. And he didn't get a call or anything. It's just over. It's like, what the is that, man? Seriously. RJ, similar stuff happens to him where he tries to drive the basket. He gets fouled. He doesn't make the shot, and there's no call. It's absolute horse shit. Absolute horse shit. They call touch fouls on the other side with Derek White going somewhere. So there is still ref manipulation. There still is bias, and some of it manifests in whether contact is called or not on our players when they're driving the lane. And that's why I would say, Scotty, don't need to be driving to the lane in the preseason because it's a risk for nothing. Because Softon, he did drive the lane a couple times last night and he got fouled, but they didn't blow the whistle. Because in some ways, the other thing, the refs know that Scotty's not really in his superstar mode right now, that he's not really being aggressive and making shots and being, if you're a superstar, you get the calls. And Scotty is a superstar, but he's not really playing at that level. So it's the kind of thing where like, a guy like him, when he comes out in the beginning of the game, has to hit like the first 2 shots and establish dominance, establish that there's somebody that the refs need to give calls to. If he comes out and he just throws in the lane and he hasn't done anything offensively good, the refs aren't going to show him respect. So that's part of it, Scott. That's why in the beginning, you shouldn't jack threes right at the start. You should go down low and make an easy basket, get the respect of the refs, get the can opened up easier with your offense, and then work your way out. But I mean, I'll give you credit, Scott. You only take 2 threes at the beginning of the game. And if they're not there, you don't take any more for the rest of the game. But still, man, in some ways, I wish you would go the easier stuff early. And if Darko could design you some stuff to get the ball in the low post right off the start of the game, that'd be smart this year. That'd be smart. That's how I feel about it. My third star of the game is Abaji. I feel like Abaji was just really solid off the bench, a winning player. He was a plus 14, which was the biggest plus minus on our team. So he had the best winning effect on the game for the Raptors, a plus 14 in this game. Yeah, Baji was 4 for 7 from the field in 22 minutes, 2 of 4 from 3. We love to see those corner threes go in from Oshai. I love to see that stuff. 2 offensive rebounds for him with 6 rebounds himself, 1 assist, 1 steal, 0 turnovers, and 10 points. Yeah, Baji just solid, man. You gotta, I have to give him so much credit because he's been, the years he's been on the Raptors, he's been super solid, man. Super solid. There may have been a little bit of weirdness in the half year after he just got traded here and he hadn't really found himself. But last year and this year so far, he's been absolutely a solid citizen and an underrated Raptor. No lie. Abaji. That's right. Yeah. So those are my 3 stars: Brandon, RJ, and Oshai. We only get 3 in the loss. I'm not doing more than that right now. I can do honorable mention, though, in a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. James is here. Good to see Raptor Freak James. Lex, what's a successful season look like for Scotty? And what's an unsuccessful season? Hang on. Let me make sure I don't miss the rest of that comment. It jumped ahead. And what's an unsuccessful season stats-wise, in your opinion? I mean, I don't really want to call a threshold or anything like that. I don't think, because in some ways, once again, the stats for Scott are not the stats that matter. The team stat is what matters. And then once again, the only one that matters is this one. So a successful stat for Scott is the Raptors win 45 games this year. We win 45 games. I say this year is a successful year, and we go in the playoffs. That I don't care what Scott averages. It doesn't matter what he averages. Some people, if he has a dip in his averages this year from last year, they're going to be all mad. They're going to get really crazy and say he's not breaking out. He's not doing what everybody says he needs to do. Even the Celtics commentators were saying some stupid shit in the game last night about Scotty. Nah, I mean, once again, I'm not saying there's any threshold. It'd be great if Scott's stats increased a little bit this year from last year so people would shut up. But in some ways, that's not what the goal is for me. That's not what I care about. I just want the Raptors to play winning basketball and win more. And if that means Scotty only scores 15 points, but he gets like 10 rebounds and 8 assists, I'll be fine with that. I mean, I don't know exactly what it'll look like, James, the success for Scott. So I'm not willing to give you a stat line and say this is Scott's successful stat line. Because I could give you a stat line that says 25 points, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds. And some people would say, oh, that's awesome. That's great. But we don't win with that stat line from Scott. You get what I'm saying? Like, he could average 25 points, but what if we only win 30 games like we did last year? So which one would you rather have? I don't care about his stats. I care about the team's wins. And that's all I care about. So I would tell that to all Raptors fans. All Raptors fans. What do you care about? Do you care about the Raptors winning, Larry O'Brien's, or do you care about Scotty's stats so much? Because if Scotty's stats aren't exactly what you like, but they end up with us winning championships, would you take that trade-off, people? Is what I would tell them. That's what I would tell them right there. All right, at least Trevor Jason, the Blue Jays destroyed the Mariners last night, 13-4. And on that note, let's do the Mr. Rogers moment. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Could you be mine? Would you be mine? I have always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you. So let's make the most of a beautiful day. Let's go outside and touch grass. Hey, hey. Could you be mine? Would you be mine? Won't you be my Raptors neighbor? Hi, neighbor. Welcome. Yes, the Blue Jays are playing tonight. Game 4 of the ALCS in Seattle. And, well, they won last night, so that's good. So they win again tonight, even the series. Because that's the thing, Blue Jays. You win the game tonight, you're back in home field advantage. Because that means there's 3 more games in the series. And there's going to be another game in Toronto if you win tonight. So that's at least one thing you get if you win tonight for sure, is you're going to get to go back to Toronto and play in Rogers Center once again for game 6. So yeah, don't mess around. Get it again tonight. Let's make this a real series and come back, just like the Raptors did against the Milwaukee Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals in 2019. That's what I want to see from y'all. So go on and get it. That's why I put this hat on just now. That's right. And you got a Mr. Rogers parody. That's right. Trevor's saying Ingram draw a lot of attention last night. Yeah, he's going to help other guys. I think the thing that we like about Ingram is he gives confidence to our team, guys. You know, that's one of the beautiful things about a superstar, a capable guy on your team. You get a swagger to yourself. Like when we had Vince on our team, we had a swagger. Vince Carter, half man, half Mason. He's coming and he's going to throw it down. He's going to be a highlight reel. And you know what? Also, he hits game winners. He's a good shooter. And he's somebody that you have to watch out because he's like that. He's a superstar. Kawhi Leonard, the year that we had him on this team, there's a certain level of confidence the Raptors travel with, a certain level of stuff with all the players would kind of grow off of, because it's like, yeah, this guy's on our team, and you know he could do some stuff that can really help us in certain ways. There's a level of this with Brandon, and that confidence in him from the other players, and confidence that they grow in themselves, standing next to Brandon. In some ways, we're going to measure that as we go through the season. We're going to see it. Because look, Brandon, it's only going to take Brandon doing superstar level kind of shit, like taking over a game and win a game, for more and more for these guys to buy in and say, you know what, we have a real chance in this. Because that's what they got to do. I know they are confident and they understand this. They see the caliber of player Brandon Ingram is as an offensive player, and they should feel confident. Because in some ways, Brandon Ingram right now is what Kevin Durant should be. And we'll see what happens more and more as we discover in the regular season. You know, we're not totally trying to play all out to win right now. And Brandon Ingram, at the end of games in these preseason games, we're winning games with Olivier Sarr and Jonathan Mobo. But we could win games with Brandon Ingram in the regular season and hopefully in the playoffs a lot. That's what I'm saying. Don't underestimate the added confidence that a player the caliber of Brandon Ingram brings. I think you guys feel it as fans, don't you? You're watching the game, you see Brandon do this on offense, you're like, oh, damn, we're going to be good this year. You're getting confident, huh? You're getting confident about Brandon. Just let's go, Brandon. Oh, I hate that statement, but I'll say it. Let's go, Brandon Ingram. That's right. Get out there and show your bag and kick some ass. You know, you see it a little bit of all of it right near the basket. You see the little close shots. You see the mid-range. You see the three-point shots. Yeah, this guy, I'm telling you, man, he's going to build confidence for everything around the Raptors this year. Everything. The fans, the team, everybody. We're going to get confident. That's right. Fiercey saying this. Good morning, Fiercey. Good morning, fam, and happy Thursday. Despite the L, I enjoyed watching the second unit climb back in the fourth. My stars of the game were Ingram, RJ, Oshai, and Battle. Yeah, Battle. Yeah, we give an honorary mention to Jamison Battle for the amazing shooting right at the end of the game. He only scored those 2 baskets in the game, though. 6 minutes, 6 points for Jamison. 2 of 5 from 3, 2 of 3 from 3. 2 of 5 overall, 2 of 3 from 3, 1 rebound, 1 steal, two fouls, a -3. It's not like he did a whole lot other than hit those 2 shots, because he definitely, damn for sure, lost us the game in the defensive possession after his shots, which is too bad. He's made such good gains on defense. It really was a dumb play where he kind of lost track of who he was supposed to guard, and he kind of backed down and tried to box out Jamal Shed, his own player, underneath the basket, when his man was running forward and then grabbing the ball and then coming back the other way, and he did not stick to him. So I don't know. In some ways, they can look at that tape. They could try and figure it out all different ways, what could have been done differently. But I would say the thing that should have been done differently is the coach, Rajakovic, would have put a totally different lineup in that situation, a regular season, with a totally different kind of setup. And maybe there's an offensive-defensive switch and substitution from Jamison Battle to a defender that should be guarding Xavier Tillman at the end of the game, and not just a guy who's like a second-year player who's more well-known as a shooter than a defender. Because that was, you know, we do that totally different, and we get a totally different outcome. We get a totally different outcome right there. All right, let's go over the rest of the Raptors in the box score. Scotty Barnes, we're going to overanalyze him from last night, but he still, he did solid stuff, man. Once again, I tell people, watch him from the perspective that he's going like Ben Wallace or Tim Duncan right now. Watch him from that perspective, and it'll make you understand a little bit more what he's doing. He was 3 for 13. He did not shoot well again, but there were signs of him getting it together also. So there are signs, and you see him do some overpowering offensive stuff here and there the last 2 games. So he missed both his 3-pointers. They were early. He was 1 of 2 at the free throw line. He had 10 rebounds with 2 offensive, 4 assists with 3 turnovers. That's not so good. And 2 blocks for Scott. They were pretty big blocks, and they were awesome. A -5 with 7 points in 26 minutes. That's tough. I mean, people are going to see 7 points in 26 minutes. What's going on with Scott? Okay, casuals, keep just looking at the stats and the highlights, but not watching the game. Because you know what? If you only watch highlights and you only look at the box score, you're not going to see everything Scotty's doing to contribute to things, and that's not fair. Now, I don't think Scotty had a super good game last night, but I think he was fairly okay, and that's fine. We're in preseason. It's just ramping up and getting in the rhythm for the season. That's what it is. Pirtle, on his 30th birthday, went out and only got 8 points, 4 of 7 shooting in 20 minutes, 2 offensive rebounds, 7 altogether, 2 assists, 3 blocks, 1 turnover, a -9. Pirtle was solid. In some ways, he's not totally on his game. You could tell the rhythm and the spacing, and he's just got to get back into the rhythm and playing with his team. And he will. We know that. There's actually been evidence of Pirtle having a rough first game back from injuries in his career. So in some ways, him just showing up for the first time, you get a pass. I mean, he shot 4 for 7, so it's not that bad. But he didn't get his main usage, his full time out there. He usually gets another 10 to 15 minutes on the court, and his stats will look more fleshed out. That's the same with Scott, man. He's 26 minutes in the game. He's normally going to play like 35. So, he could add. And the crazy thing is, we've noticed with Scott, this is the other thing that I'll give in his defense, is Scotty starts slow in games. You know that. There's often games where he doesn't have any points in the third quarter, and he all of a sudden in the second half decides to go offensive crazy and start scoring a bunch. Well, think about this. It's preseason. We're playing our bench at the end of the game. So when Scotty's prime time for going off and scoring a bunch of points, he's not on the floor. He's not playing when he would go and get all of his points in the fourth quarter, because then we used to call Scotty fourth. It was like, wow, what's going on with Scott? He doesn't have any points in the first 3 quarters. But wow, he just went out and got 15 in the last quarter. He's done shit like this in his pattern if you pay attention to him. So in some ways, you could say that's another one of the things is like, look, Scotty's a second half guy, and he's barely playing in the second half because of the preseason. And that's part of it right there. IQ was okay. He didn't shoot great. 3 of 14 for IQ, 30 minutes. 1 of 8 from 3, 7 of 8 the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal, 1 turnover, 14 points, a -1. Still, quickly, they're figuring it out. He's getting his rhythm. And there were moments where he looked really good and he shined. So we got to be allowing the things. Once again, he played 30 minutes, though. He did get more of a real starter's time. Sandro Mamu, 22 minutes off the bench with 5 points. He was one of the better winning players last night with a +10. 2 for 6 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 turnovers. Those threes weren't looking good, but they were also weird, awkward, broken play kind of threes that he was taking. And some of them weren't the best shot selection at that time. So he had to rush and do that. Jonathan Mobo, only 6 minutes, 3 of 4, though. He got 6 minutes and 6 points. So I guess maybe I should give him an honorable mention. 1 rebound and 2 turnovers, though. A -6. Jamal Shed, 18 minutes, only 3 points. He hit a 3, got an offensive rebound. He had 7 assists with 3 turnovers and 2 steals, a -1. Chucky only came in at the end. I was thinking they were going to go the regular 10-man rotation because it looked like they were mimicking more a regular season game and how we might do things. But then he added 2 guys at the end of the game in Battle and Hepburn to try and help them close it out. And Chucky was okay. He hit a 3 when he was open. He got 2 assists and 0 turnovers and 3 points in 6 minutes. That's solid. That's solid. He was open and he hit a big 3 in crunch time to help the part of that coming back with Jameson. And then Jacoby Walter, 21 minutes, 2 of 5 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3, made all 4 of his free throws, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 1 turnover, 9 points for Jacoby Walter. So we didn't end up seeing any of the other guys from the bench. So no Elijah, no Jared, no AJ, no Roddy or Sar. Colin Murray Boyles was out because of his elbow still. And Grady Dick had a DNP last night and was not available to play for the Raptors. So, yeah, let's see. Kaloy saying this. Morning, Lex from Fellow Freaks. 2-finger salute to Brian Scalabrine. Hate that commentator judging Scotty on a preseason game. Well, they can try and tear things apart and say crazy shit. And that's why Raptors fans, you don't need to mimic this. In some ways, we want to be protective and defensive. And in some ways, that's why y'all need to stand for Scott, even in the confusion. Even if you, in some ways, feel like maybe, wow, I'm worried about Scott because I feel like this is kind of an issue. Just trust me, it's not an issue. We just need to be patient. And the problem is some people are just not having patience. So don't let Brian Scalabrine gaslight you into thinking that Scotty's doing anything wrong. Seriously, they don't have any of the best interests at heart for us. You know that. So, of course, Brian Scalabrine is going to say bullshit on his broadcast about Scotty Barnes and questioning about what he's doing and all this kind of stuff because it's not in his interest for Scotty to be successful in Toronto. You know, it's just as much as like I'm on this channel saying shit like it's not in my interest for the Knicks to be good this year. So why don't I keep talking about how OG does not respect Karl Anthony Towns because Karl Anthony Towns is a lazy defender and OG is a very active defender that loves playing defense. And in some ways, if you're not putting out the effort on defense, he won't respect you. I could put that narrative out and talk about this all day long. Now, is it totally true? I don't know how true it is, but to an extent, it is true from what I saw. And some people could say, well, what Brian's saying is to an extent true about Scotty, but it's really how you want to inflect on it. It's really how far you want to put it. It's really how far you want to prognosticate off of it and what you think is going to happen. And well, it's an unknown. And it's in a place, like I said, he's metamorphosizing. And there was a couple times last night where I saw, whoa, the next level of Scott showed up for a second. In the first half, there were a couple moments of brilliance in what Scotty did in passing or maybe even a little offensive move he did. I think he had a little turnaround on the baseline that was like, yeah, that's a little bit of what people should be getting ready for consistently. Because that's the thing. I think that one of the biggest pieces of advice I could give Scott right now is stop premeditating what you think you should do on each possession and improvise, my guy. You're so good. And in some ways, some of the things that I see what's happening where you're getting in trouble is you want to go and force something in your head and go do something. And it's not there for you. And you force it and it doesn't work, whether it's a certain pass, whether it's a certain move that you do. So in some ways, you have to be more open-minded and fluid in improvising what you got to do on the court, Scotty. You can't be set, I'm going to go to this spot and I'm going to pass to this particular Raptor for sure, because you'll force shit and you'll end up causing a turnover or not be successful. And, one of the plays that I thought that Scott screwed up on, I'm going to show that I'm not totally just a pro Scotty guy, was the one where they drove into the lane. Brandon had it first, and he could have shot it, but he dumped it to Scott. And then Scott got right in the middle of the lane, and he, instead of taking it up when he should have, he was unselfish to a fault and tried to dump it to Jakob. And Jakob, that wasn't a good idea because Jakob had a Celtic on each shoulder. And Scotty, you had the elevation in the room to make the shot, a very high percentage shot. It was about 3 or 4 feet away from the basket. Why are you dumping it to Yak like that? You don't have to be that unselfish. Go eat your plate yourself. Because in some ways, that was an overpass. That extra pass was absolutely unnecessary. And you need to recognize these situations. And I feel like sometimes these kind of decisions stem from you're premeditating the decisions you want to make. But you're so fucking good, you need to be like Jimi Hendrix on a guitar solo. And just let it rip, bro. And just see where you go. And stop going down the court and saying, I'm going to go this way, and I'm going to pass it to this guy. Because they're going to telegraph what you're telegraphing. They're going to understand it. And in some ways, you need to go off script because you're that damn good. Like that little turnaround shot you made on the baseline. That looked like that was improvised in the moment. Some of the other stuff you tried to do last night was forced, and it was unsuccessful. So that's my main critique and advice for Scotty Barnes right now is get out of your head and stop premeditating. Go improvise. because you are so good in that wild card and just making things happen in spontaneous moments. And that's what we want from you, Scott, is they're premeditating you on passes. They're premeditating you on proclivities. And you need to mix it up and show them there's shit that I do that you won't be able to understand because it's wild style. That's what I'm saying right there. That's right. Wild style. That's right. G's here. Good to see G. Ingram rebounded well, what we asked for. Now, when he draws 2 or 3 players in, if he kicks it out more, we are cooking. He's going to do that too. He's going to do that. Man, this is such a beginning, guys. The promise is really good. Like, let's think about this preseason. Have any of these games looked like where the Raptors aren't competing? Sure, it's preseason, but we've had a solid compete the whole entire 5 games we played so far. There, we may have had stagnant periods. We may have not looked totally the best, but the Raptors have been involved in all these games, and they've all been close. They've all been close, other than routing one of these teams. So it's like, this is awesome. There's a good standard because in some ways we're setting the floor for the season. In some ways, we can only get up. We're gonna clear a lot of this bullshit up. These problems, we'll clear them up because they're honestly these are issues that are kind of easy to fix. It's just with direction and coaching and watching tape. So the promise of what is possible is very good from what I'm seeing in 5 games of preseason with the Toronto Raptors. And I think that most Raptors fans would agree with me. The promise of Brandon, the promise of different possibilities coming up. It's very good. Very, very good. Yeah. Seymour saying, Bam Adebayo says he's not changing his diet of breakfast of champions. Cough, cough, cough. Aja Wilson. What is that what he said? Seriously? Oh, wow. Pause. Wow. I mean, you know what? Hey, that's maybe TMI. But you know what? That's interesting. That's not Wheaties in your bowl. No, that's not. I could make a lot of different jokes right now, but I'm not going to. I think I'll stand on the Wheaties one. That's a breakfast of champions, all right. Maybe she actually is going to be on the cover too. Do they still sell Wheaties? Like, I don't even know if they have that cereal anymore. That Wheaties, that orange box, and it always had like Wayne Gretzky or Michael Jordan on the cover. Where is Wheaties? And I'll bet you they would put Aja Wilson on a Wheaties box. I bet you they would. Yeah, is that what he's talking about? Is he talking about cereal? Of course he's just talking about cereal. I don't know what he's talking about. I'm innocent. Battle has range. Oh, yeah. Battle does have range. And I love seeing that, man. The confidence and the dead eye. And in some ways, this is a test. Of the rocket launching, shoot the rockets from half court and see if they go in the target. And they did. They look real good. Look really good, man. G saying my stars are RJ, Scotty. He still filled the stat sheet. Ingram, Oshai, and Battle. Yeah, that's not bad. I like that you're standing for Scott. Like I said, there were flashes of brilliance. There were flashes of the new Scott in the game last night. If y'all watch really closely in the highlights, Raptors casual fans that are deriding Scotty right now, you will see that those flashes of brilliance that I'm talking about, whether it's a pass here, whether it's a turnaround jump shot on the baseline, whether it's a block shot. There were flashes of brilliance in Scott last night. And in some ways, if y'all are going to critique him and put him down so much, you better start talking about the things he's doing right too, because that's only fair and balanced, right? That's only fair and balanced. IQ had a decent game too. Yeah, some of these guys didn't shoot well. And I mean, that's kind of what the Boston guys said. This team works so hard. They do so much stuff good, but they just don't shoot good. I mean, that's a fair assessment for how we've been the last couple of years. But I would say this, if we do all that other stuff so well, the shooting's going to come around at some point. I mean, at some point, we're going to get a confidence that's bigger with things, and partly may stem from Grandin and what I'm saying earlier. IQ is going to get more of a confidence. Grady and Jacoby start shooting more confidence. And maybe the Raptors can get a higher shooting percentage this year than the last recent years. That would be fantastic because in some ways, I really do look at our shooting woes as our biggest problem on our team at this point. Right now, present day, right now, the biggest problem the Raptors have on their team is consistently making shots. And, that's something in basketball that teams can get better at and get into better periods of the year where they're absolutely shooting way better. So we have room to improve. And in some ways, that area is better and easier to improve because, it's just like that. It's just like that particular area. That's right. Let's see. Fiercely saying, my goodness, Ingram is a bucket. Yeah, he is. Even the shots that don't go in, like you're like, man, that was so close to going in. It just rimmed out. He's got a really nice rotation. He's got a really, man, he has so many reps from shooting stuff around in the paint and the mid range that it's just like, in some ways, you can tell that Brandon Ingram's the kind of baller that can shoot stuff in his sleep and he'd make it. It's just that some of its muscle memory, its form, it's just really good technique. And yeah, the rotation, the way it spins off his hand, his arc, there's a lot of it in it, like the very close details that's really top notch. Seriously, really, really top notch stuff. You see that rotation, you know he's a shooter. You know he's a shooter. And the way it goes through the net, too. He's not messing around with Kawhi bounce shots. That man is swishing stuff. Swish, swish, swish. Milbester's here. Good morning to Milbester, our New York guy. Good morning, Lex. Happy Thursday. Nice bounce back win for the Blue Jays. Hello. For the Blue Jays. Series lead for the 2-1 series lead for the Mariners, but I knew the Blue Jays were going to bounce back game 3. Didn't expect a 3-0 Seattle lead. Good job, Milbester. Yeah, we got to believe in our Jays. And well, keep going, Vladdy. Keep going, guys. You got to play again tonight. 8:30, they'll be playing again. Tonight, game 4 of the ALCS. And man, you guys, you got 3 more to get against them. They got to get 2. You got to get 3. So go get 3. Get another one tonight and be in really good shape, Blue Jays. We're rooting for you. Let's go, Blue Jays. That's right. Seymour saying this. No 4 quarters today, broski. I'm unloading a container from China. I'm almost in a hazmat suit, but I'm all ears like Hogan. You're all ears like Hogan? That's awesome. I was like, maybe he means Hogan's Heroes. He's like, they're all ears. They're on the wiretapper. Schultz is going to go to the warehouse right now, guys. Go get the girls. All right. Go get the girls. Go get the girls. Hogan's Heroes. I don't know. Maybe I just aged myself. Maybe I'm like, what the fuck is Lex talking about? Hogan's Heroes. What is that? Yeah, well, that's a comedy show about fascism. Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. And you know what? There's going to be some sort of new version of Hogan's Heroes at some point, I'm sure. Hopefully, maybe not, but who knows the way the world's going on. Yeah, Hogan's Heroes, check that out. But yeah, okay, you're listening. He called in anyway. He did it. He got that truck. He got that truck and container unloaded from China. That's right. See what we're saying, Milbester the Ghost. The Milbester the Ghost. You ain't rooting for us. We know you rocking with Seattle. I don't know. He's been respectful. He's trying to be fair in what he's assessing as a baseball expert. I will give Milbester that is a term for him. In fact, he may be like the baseball freak. I shouldn't even be calling him Yankees freak. I should be calling him baseball freak because he's just a freak for baseball. And I respect that. I would say this right now. Milbester is one of my most knowledgeable friends on baseball. I know he is. This man knows about World Baseball Classic. This man knows about European baseball in Italy. I was like, this dude knows baseball. Let's just put it that way. Milbester knows baseball. I'm gonna give him some shine on this. He knows baseball. That's for sure. That's for sure. He knows baseball like I know basketball. So that's pretty good right there. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Fiercely saying some dude, or maybe it was a lady, wrote our starting 5 has no chemistry. I told that person it's their first game together and to chill. That's the right response. That's the right response. Gut reactions, overreacting to one little part. Casuals, will you decide to just stop overreacting to everything in the Raptors world, good or bad? Seriously, can we just take things in stride? Have some respect for yourself and not overreact like Chicken Little and thinking the sky is falling. No, the starting lineup doesn't work right. No, that's not right. That is not right. You got early results on that maybe look bad. But by the end of the game, I saw a lot of good things happening with them in different ways. And there's only room to grow. Trust me. That stuff that happened in the beginning game is easy to sort out. It's very easy to sort out. In fact, they sorted it out immediately, and you didn't see it again for the rest of the game. So, yeah, God forbid, Brandon Ingram, who's just started playing for us, and it's like his 3rd game or something with us, or 4th game. He didn't play one of the games, right? He makes some sort of spacing error with the team. Oh, God forbid that. But fiercely, that's the right action. Educate. Don't humiliate, though. Go ahead and be kind and say, listen, we got to give them a chance, and it's just the beginning of the season. That's way too early to make any assessments like this. Yeah, so educate. I would say this, people don't want to be denigrated or insulted.
So if we are out there and we do see people, unless their energy is really vicious and ugly towards the Raptors, go ahead and be ugly to them. But if they're just a fan and they're just ignorant or dumb, you can educate them without telling them they're dumb. You could just, yeah, well, you should just chill out. And I'm sure Fiercey handled it exactly like that. And that's why I love you about you guys, is because we can be an extension of people in the Raptors nation to help with the PR and the propaganda around our team. And it's an important fight in some ways, because some of our fans are not good fans because the perception of our team is tainted by gaslighters and media that absolutely do not have our best interests at heart. And Raptors fans will fall into the trap and believe what they say. And they got to just stop doing that. Watch for yourself. Watch the games for yourself. And you can figure it out on your own. That's right. That's right. Seymour saying Mariners fan base went up 1 million at Yankees fans. Maybe that might be true. There may be some Yankees fans that, there's different fans, though, that root in different ways. Some fans do not root for the team against the team that put them out, because their logic is that I want the Blue Jays to win the World Series, because then it won't look so bad that we got beat by them in our round. They eventually went on to win the championship. So some Yankees fans, even if they hate the Jays, they won't be thinking this. But if they're kind of like, you know what? If the Blue Jays won the World Series this year, it might not look so bad that we lost to them. It's two ways you can go on it. You could be spiteful and say, no, beat them, Mariners. I'm rooting for y'all. Or you could be like, I want our team to look better, and let's see them be more successful. And then we won't look so bad that we lost to them. There's two ways to look at it. Some fans may go either way. Reggie's saying this. Thankfully, the Blue Jays won last night. Do it again tonight. That's right. That's right. We want that tonight, Blue Jays. Don't play with your food. I don't know who the starters are. I'm sure Milbester will drop it in the comments right now. Let me know who the starters are for the game tonight, and hopefully the Blue Jays get things done and kick some major ace. That's right. Milbester's saying, well, Seymour, Yankees and Mariners had their rivalry in the 90s and 2000s in the playoffs. It's good for Seattle fans to enjoy this moment. This is as close to the World Series as they've been. There you go. There you go. He's dropping knowledge there. Smooth saying Sacramento doing weird stuff. Hopefully something sticks, I guess. Typical for the Kings, though. I honestly think that what I saw when we played them, they didn't have enough firepower. And they're basically thinking we need somebody who's going to need to help us. We could have been in real trouble. I mean, you'd think they'd have enough firepower with DeMar and Zach LaVine. But in some ways, they don't. If you really look at the roster, they're light on scoring, and that's part of the reason why they got to get Russell. Now, is he the answer? I don't think so. It's a weird mix, man. It's a very weird mix. You're exactly right, Reggie. It's very weird, man. Comma Crazy's here. Hi, all. How you doing, Comma Crazy? Good to see you. No swearing Thursdays. The phone line is open. Seymour did the 4 quarters. If you guys want to call, you're welcome to call the show today. Fiercely saying, Lex, don't forget, on his way to the Wizards, Brogdon was traded to Portland before 2 bottom teams, and he snubbed the Raptors. Laugh out loud. Yeah, I'm glad he didn't come here. Seriously, I'm glad he didn't come here. He would have wasted our time. And in some ways, I don't care if you come here or not. Seriously, he's never been a player that I've been like, yeah, we need to get him on our team. Some people have been that kind of person with him, but not me. I've always been like, yeah, he's ho-hum. Really? You guys want Malcolm Brogdon? All right. Well, wake me up when you want somebody that really kind of matters. That's what I would say. That's what I would say. Smooth saying Knicks are waiting for Giannis. They're the only team he would consider a trade to. That could be interesting. We'll just have to see. I mean, there are a lot of overtures. They did on the pre-game show with Chris Haynes and Rudy Gay and John Wall. They kept talking about Giannis is on the clock in Milwaukee. And it's funny, after the game last night, we're going over the box score and having a Discord post-game. And Stargate and I were going over all the rosters of the Eastern Conference. And when we went over the Bucks roster and named all the names who are on the Bucks this year, people were laughing by the end I was done. Like, they were like, that's their team. What the fuck? Like, seriously. On the download, as much as the Raptors just lost Chris Boucher, the last champion for our team, in some ways, the Bucks championship team has been completely dismantled. Not totally, because Bobby Portis is still there with Giannis, and those are the 2 guys. But pretty much every single person that won a championship on the Bucks is gone, other than Giannis and Bobby Portis. And that core is nothing like when they won the championship. It's way worse. It's so bad. It is so bad. And that makes me think, I don't know what the Bucks front office is thinking. They've been destroying their team on the download the last 3 years by making moves the way they done. That whole Dame Lillard thing was a total bust, and they kind of really screwed things up. And now they're in an even worse position right now, and Giannis is threatening them, and they're trying to hire all of his family just to kind of make him happy. Yeah, the writing's on the wall, and I think that this is very true. I think that in some ways, Giannis, as loyal as he's been to Milwaukee, this year's going to be very frustrating to him, and he may very much want to leave. And New York may be the team that tries to pounce. I could see this. Cool Cat saying, good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Good morning to you, Coach. Good to see Pascal fan number 1. Cool Cat in the house. That's right. Let's go. Fiercely saying, apparently Brogdon does a lot of philanthropic and charity work in the offseason instead of training. He uses his money for that. He's not the typical baller who seeks wealth. That's interesting. Well, I'll give him credit for that. He didn't have to diss us, though. Anyhow, he still rubbed me wrong when he dissed us. Yeah. Well, good to him. Good for him. We'll see what he does with his life now. It's like, man, who knows? Maybe he's reading the room on things. He's like, man, I just want to stay home. I don't want to go places on planes or anything. This is a weird world we're living in right now. And be part of it too. I mean, that's why AJ Griffin Jr. AJ Griffin retired because he thinks the rapture's coming. Did the rapture happen, AJ Griffin? I don't know. That was supposed to happen a month ago or so, something like that. Seymour saying hi to Eye Candy. Smooth saying this. More news on Giannis. His wife and children have relocated to Greece. Not sure if you saw that. I did hear about this. That they're not living in Milwaukee anymore. They're back in Greece. Well, why do you think this happened, guys? It's not with the Bucks. I don't think it's with the Bucks. I think it's because of Trump, guys. Let's be serious here. If you have all the money in the world and you have the ability to get your family somewhere safer, you can go put them in somewhere safer. And Greece is safer than the United States right now. As much as my American friends, I hate to say it, but that's probably the main reason why Antetokounmpo sent his children and his wife out of the country, is because MAGA world is overrun your government. And Giannis is reading the room, and maybe he's being really smart. He's telegraphing. He's saying, you know what? I want to get y'all out of here. Because it seems like this place is a fucking dumpster fire burning down, not just my roster, but these people too. And that's not a good sign. That's probably making Bucks organization panic like hell. And that's why, hey, Giannis, do you want to put your brother Alex on the team too? Yes, I love Alex on this team. You guys want to put Alex on this team? Yeah, we'll do it, please. Why's your wife leaving? They're getting a little worried and shit. It's this kind of shit, man. But I think it has to do with the political climate. That's a big part of it right there. That's right. Good to see Neil in the chat. Seymour saying, skip to my Lou and skip with IQ. I love that. I'm going to give you another dunk. Look at that, Seymour. Look out. Where's Kareem? He's in trouble because Seymour's being witty and funny today, and he's getting it. 234 for Seymour Pay. He's catching up on the dunk artist named Kareem Thomas. Uh-oh. Yeah, I like that. Skip to my Lou. Skip with IQ. I like that. Skip with IQ. That's pretty good. Emmanuel Skipley. That's right. Emmanuel Skipley. Let's go. Fiercely saying, as Smooth Brown Man, Sacramento may actually be smart. Russ is on a 1-year deal. DeRozan will be a free agent and Levine on a player option next year. If they do good, they could flip them as assets. Yeah, I don't know if they're flipping Russell, but they could flip the other two guys. But they're kind of tough to move too. I mean, if Chicago couldn't move Zach LaVine for so long, and he's the most attractive out of them. I mean, DeMar's he's near the end of his career. It's not like DeMar is super attractive to come to a team unless they're about to win something. And in some ways, it's like, I don't know. I mean, that's not likely what you're saying here, Fiercey, that they're going to get their values up this year and try and flip them for that. I don't see that. I think that you're right, though, that they're getting things cleared up on their salary and who they have on their team for next year. And maybe this is just a real stopgap year. And Russell Westbrook's just symbolizing it, Blackhawks saying Darko has good video to get what changes the team needs to do to be ready for season opener. Yesterday was a good game. Yeah, I think so too. If you're a win at all costs kind of person, it's preseason. Let it go. It's preseason. And also understand, once again, we could have won that game. If we change personnel, we do a couple things just a little bit differently. I can see all kinds of outcomes and how we could have won that game last night easily if we just made a couple of slight changes. And one of them is Jameson just stays on Tillman and he doesn't lose him. Like, seriously, they could have easily defended that last play and not let the Celtics get that go-ahead basket. And then when we went to overtime, and then we'll see what happens there. The home team is favored in overtime, but who knows? Maybe the Raptors, maybe Jamison Battle's just starting to get going. And in the overtime period, he's like really bombing, and we start really kicking their ass. Raptors champ saying, "Thank you, friend. Thank you, friend. Are great giving your flowers to RJ." Yeah, you're welcome, man. We love RJ Barrett here. I was born in Toronto. I was born downtown Toronto, and I'm a Toronto guy. Canadian, very proud. I grew up in the States, though. I grew up in Florida, but that made me even more proud of my country, Canada. And I always wanted to live in Canada when I was a kid living down there. And when I got old enough and I was an adult, I moved back here. So, I know the States very well, having been raised there in a public school system product of Florida's public school system. So it's like, I get it. And I love Toronto, and I love RJ because he's from Toronto, and I get it. Like, he gets it. And this man plays all out for us. And we need to respect that and cherish that and protect that. That's what I'm saying. In the past, some of these Raptors, even Vince Carter, the great Vince Carter, he's a Benedict Arnold. They'll turn and stab us in the back in a heartbeat. You ever think RJ Barrett would ever stab the Raptors in the back? No, he's like DeRozan. He would never, ever stab us in the back. Never, ever stab us in the back. Siakam never would stab us in the back. And that's the thing. We got to recognize when we have players like that and really honor them and protect them, especially a hometown hero like Rowan Barrett Jr., especially like him. Raptors champs, respect. And I love your handle. That's awesome. I love that. Raptors champions 2026. Raptors NBA champions 2026. Let's go. Let's go. Say it like a mantra and speak it into existence. That's what I like to do sometimes. That's right. That's right. Let's keep going in the chat. Lots of comments today. I love it. Neil saying Scotty is adjusting to the roster. He will break out after the next 4 games. Yeah, this is true. They're all adjusting to the roster and the new presence and of Brandon Ingram. There's going to be an adjustment period, and we're in it right now in preseason, and that's good. We get it done in preseason, and hopefully we'll look way smoother next Wednesday in Atlanta against the Hawks. That's right. Shaq Lindsay saying Scotty's struggle is a result of the organization switching his role from being on ball to now playing off of it. Yeah. I mean, in some ways, there's role change, and he's just doing what they're asking him to do. And some people will be like, well, I don't like that. A coach shouldn't be making him do things that aren't natural and easy for him. No, nothing easy comes easy. Nothing hard comes easy. You got to do the hard way to do it the right way to get to the very good level that you got to be. If we just let Scotty do whatever is easy to him, he'd never grow as a player. So it's important for us to challenge him. And to challenge him with his skills and his role on the team, because he can grow. This is the thing. Darko's the development expert. He understands this. And if you let Scotty just stay in his comfort zone as a player, he may stagnate and never get to the levels he's possibly able to get to. So these growing pains, this work in progress that's so publicly seen by everybody on the court, you got to understand that's what this is. And my analogy that he's in a cocoon metamorphosizing right before our eyes is true. And we'll see it when he gets more established, because I've seen this path with other players in the past. Watching the NBA for 40 years, I have seen the way players can make leaps and all of a sudden they just go to a new level. And there's always an awkward, like I'm a little deer fawn, like Bambi, struggle with walking on their legs for a little while. Oh, I'm not used to this role. Like Shaq Lindsay's saying, he's not totally used to this role. And there's going to be a little awkwardness. There's going to be a little bit of like, this doesn't seem like this is working. But then all of a sudden it clicks into working. And everybody's like, whoa, wait a second. Now I see what they were doing. And this is really awesome because it finally got there, what we were working towards. That's what y'all have to understand. I've seen this pattern with a lot of players in the history of the NBA, where they're a certain level of player, but they make jumps. And sometimes the jump is not smooth and it takes some time. We can look at Siakam. Siakam's a good example of this. There's a lot of time that Siakam had time on our Raptors where he was awkward and it looked like things weren't exactly going right. But then boom, all of a sudden that solid stuff from Siakam started happening and he got to a new level. This is very similar with this. You can think about this. Think about the path of Siakam on the Raptors and how he got to the all-star level that he's at now. It wasn't smooth. There were awkward times where we said the same kind of shit about Pascal. They say, oh, this doesn't look like this is going right. Oh, this is this and this. This is the work in progress. This is the rough edges that you have to smooth off. And then all of a sudden you see an NBA player more polished and finished. All of a sudden you're like, damn, he's arrived. Look at Siakam now. Look at how consistent he can be for the Pacers at this point. So realize Scotty's in a similar position. He's in the middle of the metamorphosis. We can all publicly see it and critique him on it. And it's not totally fair because you want to see him get to the promised land if you're a Raptors fan. You want to see him get to the next level and just expand who he is. And in some ways, it's not an easy path. It's a rough path, and it'll look confusing to all of us. But understand, there's a real method to the madness. Darko is not fucking around. He's not wasting his time. In some ways, we could look at other teams, and they could try and do this in Charlotte with LaMelo Ball. But there may be no end game or anything like this. Darko has a vision of what Scott's supposed to be. In some ways, it's proprietary, and we don't totally know it ourselves, but will be revealed to us at some point because he'll do it consistently. We'll see it, and we're like, holy shit, I'm so glad we went through the hard work, the times that were uncertain and weird, because all of a sudden, bam, we got this product of Scott at this point as this place in his career. And think about Siakam and the way that went with him on our team. You know that Siakam didn't show up he was a nobody. He was a nobody, just a skinny kid from New Mexico State that had no guarantee to make this league. But then we saw promise in him. We saw all kinds of stuff. We invested time. We invested the trial and error of him trying to metamorphosize and become the level of player he is now. And it was a good investment, wasn't it? Because we made him look real good. He made a lot of money. We won a championship. And this man is a bona fide top-level player in the NBA at this point. So nothing hard comes easy. And Scotty's doing the hard work right now in front of us, and he's open for targeting, for criticism. But understand, that's going to come, and you're going to see it, and you're going to be like, holy shit, Lex is right. Look at Scott's, all of a sudden he's doing it. He's doing it! And everybody be like so happy. And Raptors Nation, just trust me. He's going to be there. He's going to be there. Neil's saying when Chucky comes on the floor, the energy rises. Cut him up, Chucky. I'm really happy to see Chucky and Shed on the court together last night. That seems like a really fun combo to have both those guys out there at the same time. Some people may say it's the same. But wait, we did Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet, y'all. So you can play Shed and Hepburn, and in some ways that's like a double barrel point guard shotgun, point guard shotgun. And I like the look when Chucky's running with Jamal. And we did see that late in the game last night. We did see that. Kaloy's saying Scotty is too unselfish sometimes. Yes. And I've criticized him for this in the past. That extra pass is not necessary sometimes. And don't do it just because you telegraph doing it. If you read at that moment, you have the best high percentage shot, you elevate and take the shot, Scott, because the defenders aren't near you. The defenders are near Yak. And everybody knows the play I'm talking about. If you watched the game last night intently and you saw it, what I'm exactly talking about, that extra pass that Scott dumped off to Jakob was absolutely unnecessary. He took his shot. He should have took the shot. And honestly, we could have said Brandon could have took the shot before giving it up to Scotty too. That Brandon could have actually elevated and taken the shot where he was at. Instead, he dumped to Scott, and then Scott dumped it to Jakob. So either one of those guys, maybe there was 2 extra passes. There were too many. That's what I'm saying. Shaq Lindsay saying, Bobby said we have too many young pieces. I thought Oshai might be on the trading block, but Grady and Jacoby might be on the hot seat. Listen, they're all competing for similar things, but they're a team and they love each other and they're working with each other also. It's a tough balance. But, let's not get it twisted. This is a good problem for us to have. Too much talent means we're going to have tough decisions, sure. But I'd rather have tough decisions because we have too much talent than a team that doesn't have any talent and we're in trouble, because there's a lot of teams in this league that do not have good talent this year. And we do. The other thing is another really good thing we could look at this situation is we have players that want to be Raptors. There's been different eras of the Raptors where it's been iffy or kind of questionable. Who actually wants to be here? Pretty much most of our team is like, I want to have a future on this team because I love being on this team. I see the direction they're going. So these guys in earnest are really working towards being on our team for longevity. So to the best guys, get the longevity on the team. That's what I say. And all of them have a chance. There's in some ways, I don't see anybody like being like, yeah, you have no chance. No, everybody on this team right now that isn't on the cusp of trying to make the team in training camp is got a real chance to ensconce themselves as a longevity piece for the Raptors right now. It's wide open. And that's why these guys need to play effective, efficient. They got to play hard and play smart, like Bobby asked them. And if they do that, hopefully they'll be one of the guys who are chosen to go forward. And hopefully they'll be on the second Raptors championship team, because that's really what we're building right now. We're trying to build the second team that's going to go get this with Scott. And who's going to be on Scott's team, on his cast of characters? Well, we're auditioning this year, and we're going to figure it out. That's right. Let's see. Shaq Lindsay saying Grady and Jacoby are a little too streaky for my liking, but those kind of shooting and those kind of players, Jacoby could settle down and could be more efficient. There's a lot of parallels with Jacoby to DeMar. There's a lot of parallels to Jacoby with DeMar DeRozan. A lot of parallels. And you could think about consistency with DeMar DeRozan through his Raptors career and how he elevated his game and how he got to the place where he is as the veteran he is at this point. So, Jacoby he can get more solid and more consistent and more efficient, and also increase his volume too, as far as how much he's expected to do stuff. There's a lot of potential there, a lot of potential. And the one thing I will say about Jacoby Walter is that he has built his game fundamentally so well from the start that in some ways he doesn't have very many bad habits because he does things the correct way. And Grady is a talent. He's a supreme talent at 3. And he's also got other intangibles that are good. And like I said, he in some ways has been pegged as somebody for sure we're going to hang on to, because before Masai was dismissed wrongfully, Ed Rogers, he was mentioning him as the second person in the Raptors nucleus for the future. So Grady's up there, man. Oh, wow. I got a super chat from somebody. I appreciate it. Who's this? Power 35. Thank you for the super chat. I'll read your comment right now. I appreciate it, man. Thanks you for subscribing to the channel too. BI looks great last night. 20 points, 10 rebounds, 2 blocks, 2 of 5 from threes. And he was menacing, slashing to the paint. He causes a great kind of weight on the court for defenses to have to respect. And the beneficiaries of this are going to be people like Barrett and Quickly and Scotty, because, who are they going to double? Like, that's a real problem for our starting lineup. It didn't look good totally with the motions right at the start of the game, but who the hell are other teams going to be able to double up on? And if you do try and go double Scott, or you do try and go double Brandon, we got to figure out our offense so that we're finding the place to run the water to where we've got the mismatch. So it's like, Brandon, as soon as you see you got 2 guys on you, you got to move that ball to wherever that open spot is, because you have very good starting lineup with you, and all those guys can score. So I appreciate your super chat once again, Power. I appreciate you, man, so much. And yeah, I'm excited about a year with Brandon Ingram healthy on the Raptors. And I love that he is eager to play. There's no load management for Ingram this year. He has been out too much the last year, and he wants to play as much as possible. So that's awesome, man. All right. I really appreciate the super chat, man. And I hope you enjoy the show. Every single day, we're talking Raptors every single day for 4 years straight now. And, if you have something you want to espouse on about the Raptors, this is a great comment section to get put on blast right now. Thank you, Power. Once again, man. Thank you. Let's see. Where am I in the chat? We're right here. Let's see. Blackhawk saying how Battle scored the 2 shots reminds me of Kyle and Fred. Man, in some ways, that's a whole other level. I mean, Fred does have that kind of range. Kyle doesn't totally have that Steph range, but Fred does. Yeah, honestly, I was like, wow, that's really deep. I mean, he made a half-court logo shot, the second one. That was really impressive, honestly. And he was money, man. He was money. In some ways, Darko kind of showed a secret weapon of ours that, if we put Brattle really far out and they think he can't make it, he will. That's kind of what we saw right there. Neil saying Colin Murray Boyles wasn't played. We can use his defense in the regular season. Yeah, that's another thing. We didn't have Grady or Colin. But then again, they didn't have Jason. They didn't have Sam Hauser. And they didn't have Jaylen Brown for very long either. That really did take the wind out of people's sails in Boston's arena when they saw Jaylen Brown leave the court. That was not good. So on the other side, Derek White was absolutely insane. 33 points, 10 of 23 shooting, 6 of 17, 7 of 9, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 blocks. How the hell did that man get 4 blocks? That's crazy to me. Plus 5 overall. Peyton Pritchard, annoying too. But he was like a plus 19, but he didn't really shoot well. He was 1 of 11 from the field and still got 10 points, missed all 8 of his threes. 8 for 8 at the free throw line. That's where he got him. 10 assists, 0 turnovers. So yeah, a double-double for Peyton Pritchard on 1 of 11 shooting. That's crazy. And what we were saying in the Discord last night is, man, White's so annoying. Man, Pritchard is so annoying. That's what we were saying last night about those two guys. But once again, I'll say this, Celtics Nation, don't depend on Derek White to carry you guys for 82 games this year. Y'all are fucked. You're in trouble, man. You guys have a lot of young players, and they're going to have to learn, and they're not going to be totally learning right, and they're going to be losing. Also, that Baylor Sheeman guy, now 2 games that I've seen him, there's something wrong with that guy. Seriously. I want to think that he's like a big, dumb country guy or something like that. Like, I don't get it, man. He makes facial expressions like he's a jerk or something, and he's very dirty on the court. Like, I'm calling him the modern day Bill Laimbeer right now already, because some of the things he does on the court reminds me of the dirty ass shit Bill Laimbeer used to do on the Pistons. So yeah, watch that guy Baylor. Seriously, there's something wrong with him, and he's arrogant too. He's very arrogant. The way he carries himself tells me something about him, that he's a knucklehead. So yeah. Chris Boucher only had 2 of 8 for shooting, 5 points, 9 rebounds though, and a steal and a block. He was a +9 in the time he was out there. He saw his time early in the game, and then he sat for most of the game. You know, I also want to mention at the end of the game, we were playing a rookie and 4 second-year players in our last lineup. You know, the 4 J guys, rookies from last year with Chucky Hepburn. And meanwhile, to close out the game, the Celtics were using almost a 10-year veteran in Anthony Simons. So there was an experience factor that the Celtics had on the court that kind of was over our lineup, as far as we weren't as experienced on that side. And they're playing like Tillman and Simons and people like that. And those guys have been in the league for a while. So I have to make note of that. You know, I thought that if we had more experience to close the game, you know, we could have easily won the game last night. There's a lot of things we could have done different to get a different outcome. Let's just put it that way. So nobody get hung up on it being a loss. That's what I say right there. Yeah, Shaq Lindsay saying their streaky shooting makes it difficult for Darko to play them, especially when BI is getting doubled teamed in their open. Well, I mean, in some ways, the NBA is always full of streak shooters. I mean, does this make Gary Trent Jr. a bad player in this league? No, because in some ways, this has always been this way. John Starks, you know, there's always been streak shooters in this league. It's just that when these streak shooters are on, man, it really is a feast. But when they're missing, it can be famine. And yeah, I mean, you got to just believe in your guys. A kid like Grady, who really is a technician with his technique and the way he shoots, you want a shooter like that. Even if he goes through a cold period, there's always going to be cold periods for players at some point in their career. Nobody is not susceptible. So it's the kind of thing. Well, do you trust them? Or you have confidence in them over the long term that it'll be more better than worse as far as their output and their streakiness? That's what you got to figure out. But that's the thing. If these guys can get consistent, they're going to get a better case for sticking around on our team. Whoever's going to get more consistent, and we'll just have to see who does that. Mugar's here. Good to see a new name in the chat. Great to see you, man. Let's see what he's saying. Year 5 for Scotty, a max player. The Draymond Green shit can't work. He is the franchise guy. Well, I hate the comparison of Scott to Draymond, because that's not the right comparison. And honestly, Draymond Green, how many rings does he have? As much as we don't like Draymond, that mold being on a team is a successful thing to have on a team. So if the Raptors want to be anything like the Warriors dynasty, yeah, having Scotty play like Draymond is actually a good thing, right? Hello? The Warriors won a lot of championships with Draymond Green. So I think having a Draymond Green on your team is not a bad thing. I mean, logically, if we're thinking about this, like thinking about it, I mean, no disrespect, man. I'm just going to say, you know, anybody can score in the league. Anybody can score in the NBA. Scoring is not important. Everybody makes such a big deal out of scoring. It's just that they're younger fans and they just don't understand the history. Winning is winning on defense. And this is always true every single year. This happened again this year. The better defensive team won the championship. It was the Thunder. And don't get it twisted. You know they were playing good defense out there with Lou Dort running around like that, and Alex Caruso and Cason Wallace. So, no, man, I hate the comparison myself. I'd much rather compare Scotty to Tim Duncan or Ben Wallace. I hate Draymond Green personally, but Draymond does have rings. And I mean, look, not everybody's going to be able to score the ball. It's really good when you have a superstar player that's a facilitator and a glue guy. You can say that shit ain't going to work, but you know what? Your opinion doesn't matter because Bobby Webster made this team and Darko's coaching it and Scotty's playing it. And Scotty gets the drill and the assignment. And, fans will catch up at some point. They'll catch up. And what I described earlier about the metamorphosis of Scotty Barnes, when it comes, come back, circle around and come say hi to the Raptors Freak again on his show. I hope you do. Thank you for subscribing. Seriously. Yeah. Neil saying this, Jacoby wasn't that bad for a preseason game. He was solid. We just don't want them to make a lot of mistakes. And that means turnovers, maybe bad shot selection, maybe missed a defensive assignment. They just got to play solid in each beat of what is asked for them and what they're supposed to be doing at that moment. And they are so analytical in tape that they can give report cards and specific critiques to each one of the Raptors on where they may be lacking. Yeah, that's how we are. Accountability matters on the Raptors. There's no glossing over shit. If somebody's missing an assignment, somebody makes a bad shot and they shouldn't have taken it, they're talking about it the next day. Right now, they're talking about it. I'll bet you money right now they're talking about it. That's right. That's right. Neil saying the goal should be containing guys like White and Pritchard. We have some work to do to be battle tested for plus 500 teams. Yeah. I mean, we just got to work hard. I think that we did good on Pritchard. I mean, he shot 1 for 11. Usually that guy's a dead eye and he absolutely kills us. He still killed us on the down low, even though he didn't make his shots. So, Derek White was uncommonly on fire. In some ways, yeah, we could have done better defining him and trying to stop him. But in some ways, he was really, really trying hard. And, man, if they're going to need him to try hard like that for the whole season, it's not a winning formula for sustainable wins for the Celtics. Let's just put it that way. They're going to have to lean on Derek White to get 38 points to win games, and they just barely won by 2 points. They're fucked this year. Seriously, I'm going to tell you that right now. They're fucked. The Celtics will be a sub-500 team. I'm telling you right now. Mugar's saying, how long are we going to keep making excuses for Scotty? What do you mean making excuses? What the fuck? What's your excuse, bro? Well, how about I come down to your work and look at you every single moment of the day, and I'll fucking critique your ass at your work. I don't even know what you do, man. I'll come down there and say, wow, this Mugar, man, what the fuck is this guy doing over here? He picked up this box the wrong way, or he talked to this customer in the wrong way. You want me to come and net pick you at work every day? I'll do it if you want. You tell me where you work. I'll come down there. I got time. I'll come down there. I mean, I'm not making excuses. I pointed out where he made a mistake earlier, but I'm also constructively criticizing my player because I want him to succeed and get somewhere good. Do you want him to succeed is what I'm asking you. Do you want Scotty to succeed as the franchise player of the Raptors? Or are you like, fuck him, I don't want him on this team anymore? Are you one of those Raptors fans? Because if you're one of those, I'll give you a strike right now. It's like, how long are we going to keep making excuses for the franchise player that we've invested millions of dollars in, that we want to be successful for the Raptors so that we win championships? That's what we're doing here, man. That's what we're doing here. If you're not doing here for that, you're the wrong kind of fan. Seriously, bro. And if you can't see that Scotty Barnes is a championship winning kind of player, I don't know what to tell you, man. I can't teach you basketball fast enough for you to get that. But I can come down to your work and tell you exactly how you're doing your job wrong if you want me to. I can't do that. No disrespect. In some ways, I'm not trying to make all the subscriptions in the world. If I pissed you off just now, that's fine with me because I don't give a shit if I get 1 million subscribers. But yeah, I will make excuses for Scott, but I will also criticize him when he made an extra pass that he didn't need to make, and he should have taken the shot himself instead of giving it to Jakob. I'll criticize him on specific things that absolutely matter instead of just generally saying he's a waste, we need to trade him. I mean, seriously, there's levels to this. In some ways, I'm doing shit on PhD level. You're doing it on preschool level. So you go ahead and sit in the crib and have your little takes on Scotty Barnes, but I'm getting under the hood, and I know every part of the engine. And you're over there playing with Matchbox cars, motherfucker. That's what I say. I'm sorry I called you that. And seriously, I'm just saying, you're going to come at him. I'm going to tell you real quick. I'll regulate, and I'll come down to your work. I'm serious. I'll come down there, and I'll tell you exactly where you're doing everything wrong and how you like that. We'll see how that goes. Neil said this, everyone up on Scotty, forget that teams are now scouting for him. Scotty will have to factor in his factors because no team will roll over for him. This is good because excellence is forged in fire. Yeah, factor in his counters. I mean, that's why I'm saying I want him to be an improviser. Because if he improvises and they don't know exactly what Scott's going to show up each night, that's fantastic. Like, seriously, Scotty's like a mystery card. Scotty is not necessarily the same role on the same week. He could change his role in 3 different games to totally different roles each one of the fucking games. That's why Raptors fans trying to tell him what he should be doing and shouldn't be doing is absolutely stupid, because he's a blob that can fill and do whatever the fuck we need him to do. And everybody who has a preconceived notion or an idea of the image of what Scott is supposed to be, you need to fucking let that shit go. Because much like if you have children, you have preconceived notions about your child and what they should be when they're growing up. Well, some parents like to have guidelines and certain things. But if you're telling your child exactly who the fuck they should be, you're not a good parent, because you need that child to be who they should be or they're naturally supposed to be. And you're imprinting your own damn shit on Scott is what I'm saying right now. And you can say, oh, I'm making excuses. You can say, oh, you're too positive for him. Well, listen, he's our franchise player. We've invested in him. We want this to be successful. If you're truly a Toronto Raptors fan, you want Scotty to be successful, because we're wasting our damn time if we aren't. And if you're rooting for this team in a positive way and you want the next Larry O'Brien for us, you want Scotty to be successful. If you're criticism and you're just like, yeah, tear it down, get him out of here, I'm going to be suspicious and think that you're not actually a Raptors fan first. Seriously. Because everybody should want our team to be successful. You should want RJ to be successful. You should want Brandon to be successful. Grady, Shed, Hepburn, Elijah Martin. Everybody should be, you want you all be successful. That's what I say. That's what I say to people on this, man. Because in some ways, the microscope is not necessary. It's preseason. And this is an experimentation time on the Raptors for the starters. Some of it's just to see them together. Some of it is these starters, they're already NBA players. It's not they're trying to make the team. So Scotty's trying some experimental roles right now. And he may do totally different things next Wednesday when we take the court against the Atlanta Hawks. He may be way more like the regular Scotty that we've seen in the last couple of years, maybe even a little bit better. So, I mean, hold your verdict, jury. I mean, you don't have all the facts in the case. And there's still a lot more court proceedings to go on to get the evidence, is what I would say right there. That's right. That's right. Cool Cat saying, I'm enjoying our preseason games. We're never out of a game. Lots of close calls, sessions, bodes well for our playoffs. I saw it happen for the Pacers. See, this is what she's seeing. She's seeing parallels in the journey of the Indiana Pacers recently and the Raptors and what's going on right now. I like this. I like hearing it from a coach of basketball, somebody who knows what they're talking about right here. Here's Randolph. Good morning to Randolph Phillips. Blessings, beloved Raptor Freaks family, who determines how far you go and how successful you become. Never allow your haters to have that power over you. Choose your path and stay on it. I love that. That's such a poignant words of wisdom for what we're just talking about. The circle of trust on the Raptors is within the Raptors, and fans are not involved in this. In some ways, we're just noise. I'm noise. Even if I'm positive noise, I'm still noise. And the circle of trust is with the staff, the coaches, and the players of the Raptors organization. And the only things that matter and what they think about themselves and who's assessing them, because it ain't ESPN assessing them fairly. It ain't Bleacher Report assessing them fairly. We know this. And the fans ain't assessing them fairly either, to a degree, is they work on themselves on the inside. Now, they ain't tooting their own horns. They're being fair. They're having accountability, but they're also at the same time celebrating their victories and their wins and rewarding themselves too for good jobs with chains and stuff like that. So look, what matters is the circle of trust in the Raptors and their team organization. And we are just noise. And we can say whatever we want. In some ways, I was like, I'm a diehard Raptors fan. I love my team. I've loved them for 30 years plus. And in some ways, I'm not going to change on that. I'm not fair weather. If they're losing, I go to the game still. I did not turn the TV off when they played in Tampa. I did not give up on them when Vince Carter turned his back on us and stabbed us in the back. Nope. I went through all the bad periods of this team. And I damn for sure, when we're about to be on the cusp of another successful winning time in the Raptors history, I'm not going to be listening to negative ninnies and the Eeyores of this world. No, I'm Winnie the Pooh, motherfucker. And I'm going Tigger too. Because I ain't fucking Eeyore in this shit. I'm on the positive side of things. That's right. And I'll go get that pot of honey. And I'll be, woohoo, get my friends coming over. And we'll have Tigger too. Woohoo! That's what I'm saying right here, people. So you go ahead and Eeyore this shit. Oh my gosh, Winnie, why are you so happy all the time? Woo! Because the Raptors got Brandon Ingram, bitch. That's why, motherfucker. So you go ahead and Eeyore this shit, some of y'all in Raptors Nation. I'm looking at the bright side, and I'm aiming for the sky because we're going up. and you come with us, whether you like it or not. I don't give a shit how pessimistic, Scotty this, Scotty that. We're going up, and you better get ready to come with us. Get in the damn car. Don't ask no questions. We're going to the playoffs, bitch. Is what I'm saying to people right now. I started doing Winnie the Pooh shit. What the fuck is wrong with me, man? That's hilarious. I'm riffing. I'm improvising. Just like I want Scott to improvise on the court, Lex is improvising on his podcast. I did not script any Winnie the Pooh shit and that Tigger 2 shit. That just came out. Woo! That's funny, man. That's so stupid, man. Thank you. Blessings to the Phillips family and all the Raptor Freak families. I appreciate you, Randolph, and the work you do in your personal life, and also your part in the Raptor Freak family. I appreciate you, man. Mischief's here. The bass man, bass music. Boom, ba-dum, bam, bam, ba-dum, ba-da-da-da. Good game by the Raptors. They almost won with bench unit. That's right. But I'm glad the Blue Jays won on the road. Last time the Blue Jays played Seattle on the road, we swept Seattle. I was wearing my only Blue Jays t-shirt, and we won. There you go. There you go. Yeah, I still got my Blue Jays World Series shirt on underneath here, showing that support. Blue Jays World Series 1992 shirt. And we're going to get that series even tonight. Let's go. Let's go, Blue Jays. Kaloy saying, and on top of that, Milbester can take some good roasting. We roast him and a lot, but he keeps on coming back. Glad to have you, Melby. Yeah, you called him Melby Toast. No, don't do that, man. That's not nice because you roast him. Nah, we love Milbester, our resident Knicks fan that likes to interact with us. He's very fair, and he took the defeat of the Yankees very well. He took it like a man. He was a good loser, and we were trying to be good winners towards him and not rub it in and be kind of hospitable, considering, it was a fun series. It's nice to beat the Yankees. It really is. Fiercely saying at Mugar, you are biased because of Pascal. I also respect and love Spicy P, but the fact remains the team was built around him at some point, and it didn't work out. I will say this. It wasn't fair to Siakam. And I remember Mugar now because I do remember he was a big Pascal fan. And I remember he was very pissed that we moved on from him. I do remember you now, man, because I remember around that time when the Siakam stuff was happening. I want to give credit to Siakam in some ways because you know what? He had one of the hardest periods of time any player could go through to try and take over as the new leader of a team. In the 2019 championship, he was the second banana behind Kawhi, and it was just default that if Kawhi's leaving, well, Pascal, it's your time to be the franchise player. But he wasn't ready at that time yet. He had to go through growing pains. And then you add in a fucking pandemic and a whole entire season in Tampa. In some ways, Siakam didn't get a fair shake to totally do what he was supposed to do with the Raptors. But in some ways, you can't change the conditions of the world at the time when that shit happened. In some ways, he got robbed of his heyday as the Raptors franchise player, partly because of the pandemic. I'm not going to lie. That's a really big part of it. So it is what it is. And it just worked out the way it is. We love Siakam. We celebrate his victories and his success past us. And, we can't change things. We can't get in a time machine, Marty McFly, and DeLorean this shit back. We got to go forward with what's happened. And in some ways, instead of destroying what we're building right now, why don't you get on board with it, is what I'm saying. And there's enough people out there that are going to add negative energy towards Scott. And the Raptor Freaks aren't about that. That's why we do it the way we do it here. That's why we do it the way we do it here. Mugar, I'm sorry. If I pissed you off earlier, I apologize. But in some ways, it's like, yeah, I'm going to protect Scott. Oh, yeah, I am. And I will make excuses for him. But I will also criticize him fairly for making the extra pass when he did need to. Let's see. Fiercely saying, my first game at Scotiabank Arena in April 2022, he was the face of the team on the welcome certificate. Yeah, I mean, that was an interesting time. We didn't have the best talent on our team around then either. And Siakam really deserved to have a real center around him. It would have been nice if Jakob had been able to come back sooner than he did. Maybe a couple years just before that, maybe things would have been totally different with the era of Fred, Pascal, and Jakob returning, because we know the synergy was really good between the three of them. It is what it is. We've gone down the path. We're on the path we're on now, and we can't look back. We need to go forward and understand we're ready for success again. That's what I'm saying right now. Kaz is saying, good morning, everyone. I'm behind on the stream, but just want to say the 4 quarters with Seymour is solid segment. Great questions. Yeah, I love it, man. I love having his voice on the channel, and hearing you guys come in and talk about stuff is fantastic. So yeah, if you want to become somebody you can call this channel, you got to become a member of the channel. It's a perk for members. But you can always write your comments in, and I will read all the comments. That's important to me that I get all the comments read. If you go out of pocket, we will ban you, though. Blackhawks saying, FYI, Ottawa is doing some crazy disaster improvements to Parliament. Yeah, I don't want to talk about politics, guys, unless we really have to. I don't want to bring anything up. So, Neil, please don't bring up anything about the politics unless I kind of introduce it, because I don't want the cues to talk about this. I don't know exactly what's going on with the Canadian government right now, but if it's anything mirroring the totalitarian grabs by the government down in the States, we're fucked. And we need to fucking fight for our freedoms and all kinds of different areas. And the government should not be making decisions solely from themselves. They need to listen to people and govern for the people and hear what the people want. And that means we're voting on a whole bunch of shit. We should be doing that, especially when it comes to AI. Because if they're going to fucking make a whole bunch of decisions for us on AI for us, that's going to be a problem. Neil, I don't want to do this, man. I don't want to do this because I will do this. I'll talk all day on this. And I don't want to add, I'm at 2 hours right now. So no politics, guys. Seriously, don't bring it up. If I talk politics, I did it myself, and it's because I really wanted to. If you guys really want to talk about something that's really crazy going on, I will talk about it. But for the most part, if it's just a cue like Blackhawk just did, I don't want to even introduce it. I don't. Mugar saying Pascal was 27th pick, and at year 4, he was all-stars and all-NBA. Scotty's 4th pick, and he should be there already. He's an all-star. He's an all-star. Scotty's got an all-star. So what's the problem here? In some ways also, listen, you got to stop comparing people so much. Everybody's their own individual snowflake, and everybody's pattern is different. And Scotty's NBA path and who he is uniquely his. In some ways we can make comparisons to some of the mannerisms and some of the things that happened to him. Like, oh, this is what this happened like with this guy, but he's uniquely him. And in some ways it's not fair to compare him to Siakam or Siakam to be compared to Scotty. In some ways, NBA players hate this shit. It's just like musicians. Musicians don't want to be told, oh, you're like the Beatles. Oh, thanks. Why can't I just be myself? You're like the Beatles, Oasis. Yeah, we are. We tried to be the Beatles. It was on purpose. It's how we make all our money. What is my song here? Like a champagne supernova in the sky. Someday you will find me ripping off Paul McCartney with the champagne supernova. Yeah, you compare them, but they did do that. Anyway, that's a bad example. That's a bad example. Let's see. Salute to Trucker Cass from Seymour. I like to see that. I like that. Kaloy saying, I want to see more movement plays with the starting 5. We saw a lot of that in the second half last night, but BI will get better in passing it out while being doubled. There were a couple of times where I thought BI did hold the ball too long in the double and didn't get it out of there soon enough. And he tried to beat the double by himself. Well, it's up to Darko how he wants to tell him how to do that. He may actually tell him, yeah, go stronger and beat the double because he is like that. But it's more likely he's going to tell him, recognize the double's coming, Brandon, and get that ball to the open player. Because there were a couple times I saw in the game last night where Brandon did not get the ball, the double, fast enough. Fast enough. Yeah. Yeah. Once again, power right. Thank you again for the super chat. Chloe saying one thing too, BI also looks like a good defender. He hustles hard. Yeah. Yeah. He may play harder on the defensive end than his entire life on the Raptors right now. I'm telling you right now, because he's seen the expenditure of our guys and what they're doing with their traps at half court. He's like, I got to do my part. And he's already said that in interviews. He's like, the Raptors are playing all out on defense. I have to pull my weight too. And he showed it last night in ways. Yeah. Power 35 saying we need to give Battle more playing time. That guy is lethal from 3-point range, which can open up the floor for BI and Scotty, including the entire backcourt. Yeah, I'm totally with you on this. But once again, like we were just talking about streak shooters, Jameson's just as susceptible as Grady is and Jacoby. And he's being graded on the same kind of stuff. How efficient, how consistent, how dependable are you? Well, he looked really damn dependable last night at the end of the game for hitting those threes. But, also Jameson's had times where he's missed a lot of shots too in recent times in the summer league and in preseason. So it's a mixed bag. In some ways, I still have him slotted way further on the depth chart below Walter, Abaji, and Dick. But this is the thing. Jameson Battle needs to do this year, Power. He needs to go to 905, and he needs to run things there. If he could average like 20 to 25 points on the 905 this year consistently and really show that he can be that kind of level, it'll get noticed, and that will get him somewhere. But he's not going to get this time on the Raptors this year. He's going to be somebody who's on the odd out. And it only time he'll get into games is when guys are hurt or it's just a certain matchup that Darko wants to have more three-point shooters out there. But for the most part, that man is going to be on 905 running things. And him and Mobo in particular need to go down there and really distinguish themselves in a way like Siakam has in G League or Chris Boucher did. Really go on a huge level and be a very overpowering player down there. So sadly, it's too crowded. Now, if Jameson goes to Mississauga and he's absolutely killing it, he will get more of a chance on the big squad. That's for sure. That's for sure. I agree with you. Jameson would be very helpful for spacing, but he's got to be consistent. Mischief saying Ingram spaces the floor very well. His length reminds me of Kevin Durant with his length and skills. He's in fact, I will say this, and this may be a bold statement. Brandon Ingram is more Kevin Durant now than Kevin Durant is. Yeah, seriously. Because he's younger, and in some ways, Kevin's near the end of his career. In some ways, Kevin ain't trying. In some ways, I've felt like Kevin Durant is kind of checked out since he left Golden State. That he is not totally mentally in the game like he used to be on Oklahoma City or Golden State. And that in some ways, going and languishing in Brooklyn and Phoenix recently has really kind of killed his spirit and his enthusiasm for the game. Meanwhile, you got Brandon Ingram, who just got freed from New Orleans Pelicans on an organization that knows what they're fucking doing, and he's loving it. So he has all the motivation in the world to get out there and play at a high level because he's getting a second chance. That man been sitting out, and in the open gym that's going to come out in the next 2 weeks, that's going to chronicle Brandon's injury, we're going to see just how bad he was hurt. And we're also going to hear him say with his own mouth how scared he was that he may not be able to come back. So there's differences in why people play for stuff. And I could tell you right now, that's the big difference why Ingram is more Durant than Durant at this point. You know, Durant's jaded, man. In some ways, I'm not totally sure he's going to add to helping the Rockets this year because he could actually be a problem on the down low on that team in certain ways. Let's see. Wayne's saying this. Morning, Raptor Freaks. Very difficult for the Celtics to stay above 500 when they still depend on shooting threes. Overall, they do not have continuity in their system, and that's very important. Like I said, I described it as a house of cards. That house of cards will work with a high talent level like their starters from last year. This year, you're fucking starting Keita. Don't fucking tell me that you could run that crazy offense of passing and everybody cutting and doing everything with Keita out there. Nope. No, you can't. And seriously, it's the same thing kind of with Chris on the down low. I'll respect the Chris Boucher. I love you, man. But the same thing on the down low with that. So there's so much of a talent drain on the Celtics to believe their house of cards of three-point style is going to hold up for 82 games this year. In some ways, we've seen times with the Jason Tatum, Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford Celtics where it would fall apart and they would go dead on three-pointers and their team would suck and really go stagnant and they'd be in trouble. They're not a very multifaceted team. They don't have very good size, and they really do completely rely on the three-point shot. Well, I say this to the Celtics. You're going to live and die with the three. You're going to die with the three, especially when your talent is so low, your house of cards will fall this year. That's it right there. They could get away with it when you have people like Drew Holiday on your team, when you have a healthy Jason Tatum, but you don't have that this year. And your house of cards will fall because your premise of how you play will not work. The system of Joe will work to an extent, but the whole thing that y'all rely on is going to go away, and it will make you guys have losses. I'm telling you right now. Power's saying he agrees with Mischief. Cool. Good to see Wayne. Always good to see Wayne. Let's see. Power's saying he looked very great on defense, talking about Brandon. Yeah. Shaq Lindsay saying Bam from Miami is another example of stagnation where a player is set on his role and he has a hard time adjusting. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Seriously, because Bam, in some ways, he could have gotten to be a more prolific scorer, but he kind of has gone into this kind of more defensive sided thing with his career now. I mean, in some ways, it's partly because, you know, they've had guys who would score on that team and Butler and Hero and now Wiggins, Norman. He doesn't have to carry that kind of stuff. There's parallels to Bam Adebayo and Scotty. And I mean, I don't know. Bam, in some ways, he got way better as a defender as he's gotten older. And that may be where he's made progress, but not on the offensive end. That's for sure. Not on the offensive end. Mugabe saying, Alex, it's Mugabe from Edmonton. I'm not new. Okay, I was trying to figure it out. Yeah, I remember you now. I remember you when you said the Siakam stuff. And I apologize, man. I mean, listen, I know I'm feisty. I'm very defensive for Scott right now. And I know you think I'm making excuses for him, and I am. You're right. But in some ways, somebody's got to do it. If people are going to slander him out in the public and say all kinds of crazy shit on social media, there better be a force coming the other way. And especially a force that kind of understands the situation and the perspective on a bigger, higher level to see the whole picture. Because I feel like a lot of people that are making rash decisions about Scott are not seeing the bigger picture. And that's the important thing right here, McGarvey. Respect, man. I apologize, man. Seriously, I shouldn't have cussed at you. I apologize for that. That was rude of me. And in some ways, I shouldn't have stooped to that. Shaq Lindsay saying, teaching Scotty to adjust and play different roles will benefit him and the team in the future. Yes. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of different things. Scotty's not showing his best stuff in preseason. Preseason is preseason. We'll save that for the regular season. He's saying. McGarvey's saying, laugh out loud. Lex, I want Scotty to be the level that we want he could be. Okay, good. I just want to know your intentions. Because then, it's like this on everything with social media and texting. You don't know the intentions of somebody texting you. They could write something and they totally mean it in a different inflection, but you read it the wrong way. Text is not good for getting the intention. And the intention of a lot of people writing on social media and stuff is not good and does not have the right things at their heart for our team. So to me, it's a non-starter. I don't want to talk to anybody who's not truly a Toronto Raptors fan. I don't want to talk to somebody who says, yeah, I'm a Raptors fan. I'm from Toronto, but I'm an NBA fan too. And I love LeBron. And I'm rooting for the Warriors this year because I think the Warriors are a really good team. These aren't people that I want to talk to too much. I want the priority first team Raptor fans. And I know McGarvey's that because I remember McGarvey now from before. And, there's a lot of fans here in Toronto that have not been fully Raptors fans, but they're NBA fans. And they have another NBA team that they dote on and they care about more. This channel's not for those people. This channel's for number one Raptor fans. And I know McGarvey's one of those guys, especially if he's professing to say, I want Scott to be successful. I want him to be successful. Well, the critics are saying he's got to have a big year this year or their tough decisions may have to be made. And, that may be true to some extent. If Scotty's a complete bust this year, which I know he won't be, maybe Bobby does have to reassess who's the franchise face of our team. We got to have everything open to possibilities, sure. But I'm not trying to talk about that happening because I know it won't. Because Scotty's going to get it out of the mud like he always has, and he's going to prove exactly who he is. And that's what we want to see, that right there. Yeah, he's saying, laugh out loud. Lex, I'm not new. I'm a Raptors fan. Okay. Lex, you are one of the best Raptors YouTubers. Chill. I know you don't remember me. I listened to you for about 4 years now. Okay. Mugarbe is a longtime listener, was a one-time caller before, but now he's circled back and come back in. And you know what? Respect, man. Sorry, dude. You know what? Listen, I'm going to go see if I can give you a dunk real quick on the chart. For being a good sport. And seriously, man, I know I talk out of my ass. You got to understand, I'm free flowing exactly what I'm saying. There you are. McGarvey's on here. He's got dunks from the last 2 years. He's got 20 dunks in his history. So yeah, McGarvey, I'm going to give you for being turning the other cheek and allowing me to be humbled and say, you know what? I'm sorry, McGarvey. I misjudged you. I forgot. I hadn't seen you in a while. And I'm happy to see you. So I'm going to give you, I'm going to give you a 7 dunk. You get 21 dunks here. 7 dunks for 3. 21 on the charts for McGarvey Lennon. I even have your name here, man, on there already. That's right. He has it right there. It's the same McGarvey. Cool. Yeah. All right. All respect, man. I'm sorry, man. I need to be nicer to people. I know that. That's one of the things I'm working on with my character. It's like, be nicer to people, Lex. You're too crazy sometimes. You got to chill out. Power saying BI has been very consistent through the last preseason games. He looks very in all-star form. I think he's been solid. Yeah. I don't think that he seems like he's fit in very well and smooth other than a couple times. And for the most part, it looks like everybody's playing off of him very well already. The chemistry with him and RJ is really nice already. I still want to see it between him and Scott. And we didn't totally see it yet last night. The opportunities were there last night in some ways. Trevor's asking me, what do you think of my game room, Lex? So Trevor told us this week he made a game room at his house and he posted pictures of it on Discord. Well, I like your pool table. You got a video game there. I'm not sure what video game that was. It had like golden tee on the side, but the name of it was something weird. I've never seen it. It was like a Japanese game or something. What is that video game you got? And then, of course, he's got a game room like Dennis Schroeder has with a bunch of screens and computers for gaming on the wall. So yeah, this man, he's got quite a few things in his game room, and it looks pretty good. Looks pretty fun. I wonder if it's similar to what Scotty's going to build at the condo, supposedly. I don't know if they're still doing that. Did that project fall through? Hopefully, Scotty's still getting that condo in his penthouse on Bathurst, and he's designing the condo's game room like Trevor. No, it looks fun, man. I'd love to go there and eat your wings. I'd love to come down and hang out with you, Trevor. If the country wasn't such a shit show, I'd come down to Florida, to Fort Lauderdale, and see your game room and eat some of your food, man. You drive me crazy with the food, man. Seriously. Fiercely saying Derek White has a weird obsession or drive in destroying us when he plays against us, his former teammate Jakob. I don't think it's just us. I think that Derek White has that drive and plays all out like that. I think that in some ways he got activated being coached by Joe Mazzulla. Joe Mazzulla likes to have an extension of guys, and in some ways Peyton Pritchard and Derek White are extensions of Joe Mazzulla's attitude and persona on the court. And Derek White, in some ways, he's playing as a mirror of his coach. He didn't play like that for Pop. He was a little bit different with how he played, not as aggressive and physical. But on the Celtics, he's definitely very aggressive and physical. So I think that's what it is. I think that Joe's encouraging him to be more on that side of it, that kind of things, because that's the way he coaches, and that's what he wants from them. Let's look at the team stats from last night and kind of go over where things happened the way they did. The Raptors actually shot better than the Celtics last night, 40% to their 39%. Not very much difference. We only shot 36 threes, and they shot 52. But we made 12 and they made 15. So we shot better than them at 3-point. We made a third of our threes. They shot 29%. And that's what I'm saying. Their personnel is not as talented. They can't expect to shoot like close to 50% at 3 this year because they don't have the same roster. And the roster last year maybe could have done it. But this year, I don't see it, Celtics fans. You guys are going to shoot more around 30% than 40 to 50% this year. Watch. Free throw line. The Raptors have been exemplary at the free throw line in preseason. This is so awesome. I love seeing this, and I don't want to mess it up. RJ, Jakob, all you guys, you're hitting your free throws at like 90% in the preseason right now. It's fantastic. Keep going like that. I love that so much. We did get out rebounded by 2 rebounds, 55 to 57 were the rebounds. The assists to turnovers, I like looking at them both together because it kind of like tells you the story, especially with the way we're stealing the ball these days. We had 31 assists, so we got our 30 mark on assists again, which is something Darko really wants because it shows connection in the 0.5 passing system that we get to the 30 mark on assists per game. And we got only 17 turnovers. Now, the Celtics are a team that does a really good job of protecting the ball from turnovers. And in the beginning of the game, we were not getting easy baskets off them from turnovers. And that's part of how they jumped out on us in the first quarter, is they were playing really protective of the ball. And for the Raptors to get going, they need transition because their threes aren't going to go in naturally. They got to get transition first or inside. And we weren't getting any transition because they were doing a really good job protecting the ball. But by the end of the game, the assisted turnover ratio for the Celtics was 24 to 21. So we did get them at some point, and we did make a real problem with them. Now, the crazy thing is we didn't get a lot of steals, though, considering that we had 24 turnovers. And this is one of those weird ways where they'll rob us. They'll rob us real steals because in some ways they may be deflections where it goes out of bounds, or we harass the team into turning the ball over by throwing it out of bounds or making a bad pass because we're just bothering them so much. So causing 21 turnovers to the Celtics, but only getting 8 steals, that's crazy. Because in some ways, it is what it is. And they had more blocks than us, which was weird. They had a lot of blocks, 12 blocks for the Celtics yesterday. Yeah, points in the paint, we beat them there, 46 to 38. That's a good sign. And the fast break points could have been higher. Only 19 fast break points for the Raptors this year. We want to see plus 20 on fast break every game for this year. So, yeah, the stats were pretty even between the Celtics and the Raptors, and a 2-point victory for them is what happened. And that's it right there. Yeah, Power saying he is more KD than KD. Yeah. Brandon is more KD than KD at this point. And you know what I'm talking about. Power knows what I'm talking about. That's right. Fiercely saying W stream. Appreciate that. We still got some segments to do, and we'll make sure we get it done. If I do an extra hour, I don't mind. We go to 3 hours, a half an hour more, either way. Power saying Scotty will be fine once he's given the time to adjust to his new role on the team. He has to find comfort in his new positioning on the floor offensively. I think that in some ways, part of it is Darko's not letting him be comfortable right now because he wants to challenge him. And we know we could post him and do all this stuff that everybody knows he's got. He could be more comfortable. And that could be as simple as, like I said, next week against Atlanta, we're letting Scott do actions and things in the sets that he's more comfortable doing. I think it really is an experimentation time in preseason. And you want Scotty out of his comfort zone to challenge him. And I think that's part of what's been happening in the confusion and the weird perception of Scotty Barnes right now, is that he has all kinds of bag of tricks we know is solid, and we know he can do them. And he did a little bit of it last night. He did it a little bit on Washington game too, but he doesn't need to fully do it right now because he's experimenting and being challenged in other areas. And that's what we're seeing right now. Kaloy saying, yeah, I myself are getting defensive with Scotty too. With the current climate, I always push back when I see bad comments about Scotty. And I appreciate you guys for this. Seriously, because that's part of our role as positive fans. We need to defend our guys. And often that is part of what we do. We're the pikemen in the front to hold them off with the long sticks, the idiots that are trying to get in the castle and mess with our guy, our king, Scotty Barnes. And in some ways, I don't mind being somebody that's in a phalanx to defend him, because in some ways there's a lot of people coming at him in different ways. And this could be really bad if it gets out of control. You know, the stuff that happened with Vince Carter could have been avoidable a little bit more. There was way too much confusion and non-communication, and the relationship of Vince Carter and the Raptors disintegrated. And it really caused the issues that happened where Rob Babcock made one of the worst trades in NBA history, and definitely the worst trade in Raptors history. So we can't lead down the cobblestone path towards these kind of outcomes with a player the caliber of Scotty Barnes. I know the mistakes we made as a Raptors team in the past with superstars, and we're in a different place after Masai came here and made us a culture and gave us respect. And we can't have a duplication of anything that happened with Vince Carter with Scotty Barnes. And this is how we fight to not let that happen, Kaloy. So what you're doing is really good. And I employ everybody here to please do it yourselves too, where you see it. And it's real simple. Like I said, we don't need to denigrate, just educate. Let them know some of the things that they need to understand so that they're more knowledgeable NBA fans. And that's really what it is. In some ways, it's just people not having a totally educated opinion on Scotty. The problem is right now. That's what it is right now. And we can educate them. We have that power. We have that power. Trevor's saying classic card. Let's go. Milwaukee Bucks waive Chris Livingston. Okay. All right. Let's see. All right. We're going to go ahead and let me do all my tabs real quick. Straight goods on Canadian goods, guys. If you have a dog or a cat and you want to feed your pet 100% Canadian dog or cat food, your company may be Petcurian. Petcurian Pet Foods has Now Fresh label. So if you see Now Fresh at the grocery store and you want to get that for your dog or your cat, you can get it. They're out of Chilliwack, BC, and they use premium locally sourced ingredients with sustainability in mind. So yeah, straight goods on Canadian goods. Get your dogs and cats on the Canadian goods and buy Petcurian Now Fresh brand. There you go. Does anybody want their fantasy team looked at right now? Anybody who has not had their fantasy team analyzed for our Yahoo Fantasy League for the NBA this year, I will do one real quick if you ask me real quick. If not, we'll keep going. Power saying Scotty is such a massive athlete. If you notice, every time he gets the ball down low, they have to double team him. Yeah, he's just a really good player. And in some ways, he hasn't hit it yet, but he's going to. And some people out there really want him in their jersey to do it. So you can understand a learned fan of another team that pines or wants or covets Scott will come into our fan nations and add to the noise to try and get him in a less stable position in Toronto. Most of it is Scotty's very happy in Toronto. He's smiling. He's the captain. He's the center of attention. He is the franchise tag. He has his best friend on the team. He has a lot of good players around him. He has a very good situation. And other people that may want him on the other team don't like that because they want it to be toxic and messed up here so that he'll want to leave, like Giannis. And that's why we have to fight this side of the battle. And that is the propaganda information war on social media as the fans. That's what we do. That's the assignment, guys. And we know how to do this. We have a lot of battles with this since the Raptors won the championship and a bunch of casuals joined our fan base. As always, I mean, no disrespect to learned fans that have caught up and are in the right place since the championship. but it's true. We grew as a fan base, and there was the IQ of Raptors fan nation kind of went down a bit after that. Let's just put it that way. The average IQ. Let's see. There is NBA news and going on right now that we need to kind of look at. One of the things is that the NBA is going to be more proactive on fan behavior this year. There's an article on ESPN saying that the NBA has put a memo out to all the teams that they really want the teams to be proactive about fan behavior. And they're really kind of noting things, like in the WNBA, people were throwing dildos on the court this year. There's been problems in the past with protesters coming out and chaining themselves to backboards. There's problems with players getting racial taunts from fans. And they really want the league wants the arenas to take more of the onus on security. So if you go to games, don't act out of pocket. The NBA is going to be cracking down on bad fan behavior this year. And this may very well be something that's very interesting this year and some subplots with incidents that could possibly happen. I don't think anybody's going to be throwing no dildos on the court, Shrek. But there could very well be protests this year around the NBA. And the league is sending a memo out just to get teams ready, just in case. I think that's part of what's going on there. Instagram stories. We got Sandro Mamu coming into the game last night in Boston. We're in a nice little outfit. It's not really that dressy. It's more casual. Let's see what else we got. We got Grady Dick coming in his fit, wearing a nice long sleeve red Adidas shirt. And he looks scruffy. He looks like he just got out of bed. He looks kind of like he may have been a little sick, honestly. That may have been why. No official reason for Grady's DNP last night. Just wasn't available. That's it. AJ Lawson with his entry pick from the game. He's staring at the camera. AJ, you're awesome, man. And hopefully you got that last roster spot. We're really rooting for you on this channel to be the final 18th Raptor on the roster this year. Really, really are. Jared Rhoden, we're rooting for you too, man. But in some ways, I know what's going on. You're going to be all right because you're a badass and you're doing it right. But yeah, this guy named Christian, this little kid, he put did a project on Jared Rhoden for school. And it's a Hispanic heritage project on his favorite player. And did you guys know that Jared Rhoden is part Ecuadorian? And that's what he's talking about. And he says he currently plays on the Toronto Raptors. He played at Seton Hall. He's from Baldwin, New York. When I grow up, I want to be like Jared. That's awesome, man. And that's got to feel so special to Jared Rhoden to see a kid who did this. This one is special, is what Jared's saying. That's a really special, awesome thing. Where in the world is Serge Ibaka? Serge Ibaka's sitting at a table, and he's like wearing a knit beanie hat, and he's got a water and a menu, and I'm not sure where he is. You know what? That kind of looks like a place in Kensington that I used to go to, Kensington Market, but I know it's not it. Is that Chaos? Cause? It looks like Cause, but it's not Cause. It's not Cause. I don't know where in the world Serge Ibaka is right now. There's Colin Murray Boyles on his fit coming in the game. Colin has really shown a lot of exuberance and joy around the team. A lot of smiling, a lot of cheering, a lot of happiness. And you've seen him in the middle of the group. So I really like that. I'm starting to see Colin really get into being a Raptor. And I'm telling you right now, he's going to be key to the Raptors' next championship. I had a premonition. I felt it during Summer League when I saw him play. I had a very strong premonition about Colin Murray Boyles, that he is going to be something really special for us. And he will be alongside Scotty Barnes. The two of them are going to be central to our next NBA championship, guys. I had a premonition. I seen it plain as day. Colin Murray Boyles is going to be an NBA champion for the Raptors. I seen it. Lloyd is putting on blast the new season of Starting Five. It's out on Netflix starting today. And they're covering these 5 superstars this year. Tyrese Halliburton, James Harden, Kevin Durant, Jaylen Brown, and SGA. Now, it'd be interesting to watch SGA. Those other guys, James Harden might be funny. And Jaylen Brown, okay, respect to Jaylen Brown. And hopefully he's not that hurt. I'll say that, Celtics fans. I don't want to get cheap wins over y'all because your best player is hurt. I hope Jaylen Brown's healthy and he'll be fine. Lindsey Dunn's in Seattle, of course, with the Blue Jays, covering them on the sidelines. She's got some of the practice going on there. Jamal McGlure's got some crazy guy riding the handlebars of a bike, and it looks so freaking dangerous what that guy's doing. It's just so crazy, man. He's also saying that yesterday was the last day to nominate a star for the Scarborough Walk of Fame. I have a nomination, Jamal McGlure. I'd like to nominate Seymour Pape of Calgary, Alberta, Canada, to the Scarborough Walk of Fame. That's right, a great Scarborian who has moved out west That's right. Let's see. What else do we have in here? Once again, guys, check out the the Raptors book by Eric Smith. It's a great stocking stuffer to get for somebody's birthday or for Christmas. Do that. Get it. Go get the the Raptors. Raptors 905 has a program right now. They're looking for heroes, 905 heroes. Nominate your teacher for a chance to win prizes and for you and your class. So if you're in school and you have a great teacher, send in the nomination to Raptors 905. I'll bet you y'all will win a game and go to the game with your teacher, and they'll get celebrated and put on blast at the game. There's Chris Boucher posting of him getting his championship ring from Adam Silver in Toronto when he's on the Raptors. That's a beautiful moment. He wants to show the Celtics fans that he comes with a pedigree of championship, 2 of them actually, technically, even though he really wasn't on the Warriors championship team. But yeah, Chris Boucher is showing Raptors highlights on his Instagram still, even on the day when we play him. I think Chris has done a really good job of making it very well known to the Raptors fans that he still loves us. And just because he's playing on the Celtics, he's still a big part of us. And you're good, man. You're good, Chris. You're bona fide. And in some ways, I don't know, Celtics fans might be pissed off. He keeps posting Raptor stuff still. And I'm okay with that too. I'm okay with that too. Chris Boucher talking about Slim Duck Foundation and giving this holiday season and being philanthropic. Chris, you're awesome, man. He's putting on blast also Derek White for his big game last night and Xavier Tillman for getting the game winner and looking tough at the end. Yeah, Jacoby Walters got a picture of his mom, I guess, or something, or granny, his granny. So yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, there's your Raptors Instagram stories for today. Going over what we see in their world through the Instagram world. That's right. That's right. Smooth saying Milwaukee and Giannis, just a really strange situation. He's saying he wants to win with the Bucks, yet all the dynamics say he wants out. I really think he's going to be a Knick, man. That reporting is coming from legit sources. Well, I say this. I would have no confidence in the front office of Milwaukee after looking at the moves they've done in the last 3 years, really since they won their championship. I think that they have done a poor job keeping the level of compete on the Bucks from the front office. I could question all kinds of shit they've done in the last couple of years and say this front office is idiots. That's why we should be very thankful, Raptors fans. We've got a salary cap genius in Bobby Webster, and we had Masai Ujiri before because we had a confidence in our front office that they weren't knuckleheads. And the Milwaukee Bucks front office is knuckleheads right now. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. Why would you trade Chris Middleton for Kyle Kuzma? I don't care if Chris is old and he's been on your team forever and you wanted to change. That is not an upgrade. You had more in keeping Chris Middleton around as a veteran presence and doing that than bringing in a knucklehead like that. You thought you refresh things. You're not familiar with Kyle Kuzma, obviously. Seriously, Milwaukee's Bucks GM, you're not familiar with Kyle Kuzma, obviously. You're not serious, obviously, with that. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, man. All right, let me keep going. Raptors Reddit reactions real quick here. We're going to see. Steve Nash has rightfully handed over the crown to SGA. We've already declared this summer. We declared this after the championship of SGA getting MVP and the championship this year, that he has officially been crowned the greatest Canadian player in basketball history above Steve Nash. And that just happened this summer. And Steve Nash is saying, I have no problem anointing him the greatest Canadian player ever because he knows it's true. And Steve Nash, I've met Steve Nash before. He's a very nice, likable, very humble guy. And so he has no problem saying this because he knows that at some point the ceiling was going to be broken above him. And he's just glad to see the progress of Canada as a nation to have a player of the level of Gilgeous-Alexander in our country, in our fold for our team Canada at this point and doing what he does in the NBA. So, yeah, he's happy to hand the crown to Gilgeous-Alexander. That's right. Raptors Reddit is putting on blast the Celtics broadcast for saying, you know whose name we haven't called? Scotty Barnes. He's out there. What's up with that? I thought he was trending like Giannis. I know it's preseason. Maybe I shouldn't overreact. I think the world is Scotty Barnes. Yeah, you shouldn't overreact. And Scalbrini, your man crush on Jakob Poeltl is noted. Did you guys even know that Jakob Poeltl had his 30th birthday yesterday? Did they mention that even on the broadcast? If they did, I didn't catch it. In some ways, I didn't want to hear them. I muted them. But yeah, Scotty Barnes, you're overreacting. Yeah, you said that I shouldn't overreact. Well, that's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. And Raptors fans will be telling you that too. Yeah, here's another one. It says, can we not do this until game 13, please? Yeah, he's saying he's got the Simpsons bus driver and he's saying, don't make me tap the sign. And here's the sign, guys. There's little correlation between underperforming in the preseason and having a poor regular season for established players. Wait for the first 10 to 20 regular season games. Tapping on the sign. Hey, thank you, bus driver. for informing the Raptors fans. Yeah, that's all fair right there. Your Raptors Reddit reactions real quick right there. And yeah, that's on point. That's on point right there. It's on point. Let's see. Let's see. Where am I? Also there. All right, let's do the birthdays real quick. Happy birthday to Alan Anderson. Alan Anderson was a Raptor in 2012 to 2013, early DeMar era, early DeMar and Kyle. And we remember Alan Anderson took over from James Johnson in the starting lineup for a little while. He played 2 seasons with the Raptors, and he got about, how many games did he play for us? He played 82 games for us, a full season, but over 2 seasons. And he started 14 games for us. In his last season on the Raptors, he averaged his highest total in his pro career at 10.7 points per game. Y'all remember Alan Anderson. He's kind of a forgettable Raptor, but he hooped it up for us, and he was important around that time. That wasn't winning teams, though. But yeah, he's 43 years old today. Happy birthday, Alan Anderson. And his last stint in around the NBA was for the Lakeland Magic in 2018. But yeah, he's also notable because he spent 2 years in prison for the healthcare scam that happened with the NBA players. He was one of those guys who were in the healthcare fraud scam, and he did have a 24-month prison sentence from being guilty for that. So happy birthday, Alan Anderson. And hopefully you're out of jail by now. I think he is. I think you should be out of jail by now. Yeah. All right. We're just over 2.5 hours. Let's go ahead and do the classic card. That's right. We can get everything done. I'm not missing no beats. We can get it all done. Okay. This is weird. All right. This is really weird. This is extremely weird. All right, y'all. This maybe never happened in classic card history. So get it fast. Full name answer, please. Write it fast. Don't wait. This is so weird. And y'all know why in a second. If you look at it, you will see why it's weird. Yeah, go ahead. Full name. Just like easy. Don't do that, man. You're going to get Seagull, bro. You got to full name this shit. Whoever puts it in first is going to get it. Fiercely, what are you writing in Malcolm Brogdon for? I'll give it to Slug DZ. He circled back and got it. Yeah, it's James Harden. And you know why it's weird? It's because yesterday was James Harden also. So this is 2 days in a row that we got the same player for the classic card. We got a James Harden on the Rockets and a James Harden on Team USA with the Brooklyn Nets jersey. That's so weird, man. But Slug DZ's going to get it today, Fiercey, because he got on it fast. This is a cool card, kind of, this USA card. Of course, all the classic cards go in a box. And when I do a Raptor Freak hangout, we all get together, I bring the box, and y'all can take all the cards for free that you want. So if you like these James Harden cards, you can get them down the road. It's like easy. You got in there and you fixed yourself before the Seagull happened. In some ways, Fiercey was weird with her comment with Malcolm Brogdon putting that in and then writing James Harden in. I guess maybe she thought because I was saying this is weird and it was Malcolm Brogdon. But no, it was James Harden for the second day in a row. That is really weird, man. Like, what are the chances of getting the same player 2 days in a row like that? What are those chances, man? I don't know, man. It's crazy. All right, 50 points for Slug DZ today. The king of the classic card is Slug DZ. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Fiercey saying because you said it's weird. I was like, Malcolm Brogdon. Yeah, because he retired and then all of a sudden it's Malcolm Brogdon. No, it was weird because it was the second day in a row of a James Harden card. That's crazy, man. All right, y'all. Once again, don't overreact to preseason, Raptors fans. Don't overreact to whether we won or not last night. Don't overreact to Scotty Barnes. Don't overreact to any of the Raptors in any kind of substantial way right now. The real season will start next week. And then, you'll have a little bit more ammunition to be like critical or saying stuff, but not right away either. You got to let them have time to get into the season. We have to understand the bigger picture at every juncture. And we can't just overreact every single good or bad thing that happens to the Raptors. The Raptors Nation has been so bad for this. And we could stop doing this. It's really good to not live your life like, whoa, 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 whoa. If you're bipolar and you go through mood swings where you're depressed and such low lows and such crazy high highs, your life is really tumultuous and not totally happy because you're really going the rise and fall all the time. So I would say just like that in your life, be that way as a fan. Because in some ways, the players are not going crazy over their big, huge successes. And they're not getting too down about their failures. You want to have that even line. And in some ways, our fans could practice that more themselves. is what I'm saying. All right, y'all. I love you guys. I'll be back tomorrow to set up the Brooklyn Nets last final preseason game for the Raptors in 2025. And yeah, it's also the coaches open house tomorrow in the morning. So hopefully somebody will go down there and check out what Darko and the coaches are talking about in the morning at Scotiabank Arena for that. And I'll have the preview, all the latest lineup news, the ref report, and the keys to the victory, the win, the path to get the win in the in the game. And yeah, we'll have all that tomorrow, the regular stuff on the preview for Nets, Raptors, Scotiabank Arena, Friday night game. Let's go. Kevin Durant night, I heard. Oh, wait, no, not Kevin Durant night. Brandon Ingram night. Let's go, Raptors. Let's go, Jays, baby. Let's go, Jays. Even up this series tonight. Beat the Mariners, baby. Let's get the Mariners. Yeah.